Carl wanted to stop by. Haven't heard about Sam Drizzy. He acted like he could be here, might be here, but don't know. And our good friend Nate is out. So anyone else we haven't heard from. But we were just kind of recapping a conversation that was had last night where Cypher was on a panel about political violence. And it went very, very well. It went very, very well.
It was amazing.
Best panel ever. Wick actually messaged me right after he got done with that panel moderating. He said that was the worst panel I've ever had to moderate. I was just like, I'm so sorry.
I believe it. Like, I'm not going to let a person talk over me while I'm trying to make a point, and then they're just trying to talk over me by lying. Or by how I view it as a lie. So, even I was even like, no.
All right, so you all had to get brain dead. Got it.
No, I mean a little bit, but after that, I was just like, I was done.
Gotcha. All right, so today we're going to be talking about political violence and when it's acceptable. The problem is we wanted to talk about a bit of the 2020 fallout. I had a good panel on that last night, so feel free to check that particular show out. But we were hoping that Nate was going to be here so we could talk about the Fed, because a week and a half ago the Fed raised rates again, and there's still quite a bit of political fallout. But me and Cypher have already beat that to death just between the two of us, so I don't want to repeat that. The show's over. Thanks for coming. No, we might meet him and dream a little bit here, but let's do a little bit of a personal one here today. Cypher, what have you been working on? What's going on in the life of Cypher? Huh?
So, personal stuff. Shit. Trying to sell my parents' house. That's fun. What else? Not really a whole lot, to be honest. I've started to try to get back into doing personal data science-y projects, because I'm not doing them at work. I'm doing more data analysis. Oof, tongue-tied today. So I'm trying to get back into that. So that's going to take up some time. And just spending time with my wife, basically, has been what I've been up to. Been kind of boring the last month or so. Not much going on.
Understand. If anyone's been watching my stuff, people have seen that I started playing Victoria 2 again, kind of in celebration or repugnance of Victoria 3 being released, in the last 2 weeks. And it's I haven't played it yet, but I've been watching people. I've been checking out reviews from veteran players. For new folks, you'll probably like it. You probably enjoy it. But for anyone who's a veteran of that particular series, or just Paradox games in general, a lot of the vets are pissed, and I'm really sad about it, because Paradox is kind of going down this road that EA did, where they keep going towards the more give me just a second. Okay, I'm going to go spray my dog with water because he's an asshole. All right?
Okay.
That's what I'm going to do, because he is pissing me off every time that I fucking stream. Okay, thank you. You suck! Okay.
You got more viewers on Twitch or YouTube right now? I want to see the chat.
I'm tied right now.
Okay.
Okay,
Twitch it is. It's just easier.
Fair enough. Anyway, long and the short here is Victoria 3 released, and it's not that it's bad. It's that it's a complete betrayal of the series so far. Just like Hearts of Iron 4. It's like, all right, cool. So you're playing you're playing this new game. The combat system's really weird and janky. No one knows why the hell they did it that way. Diplomacy, got better. Like, the world is fleshed out. There's no, of Africa, doesn't exist. That kind of thing. So some improvements to be made, for sure. But pretty much, as a good friend of mine described it, everything that made Victoria 2 good is not in Victoria 3. Particularly, I was about to buy it, and then I was just looking at the reviews. I'm like, wait. I see everyone, building out factories and building out mines and whatnot. That's really good, but where's the capitalists? Where's the people who actually, where's the capitalism simulator? It's not in there. You're pretty much playing essentially planned economy at all points now. And it sucks because that was the cool thing about Victoria too, is that you could, depending on who was in power, you either had like liberals in power who are largely like laissez-faire or interventionist, or you could have socialists and like monarchists in charge, and you could be like state capitalist or centrally planned. And it had a full economic simulation, and you had to play around that. So you had a lot of control under a centrally planned economy, but you had to like micromanage the shit out of everything. And it was pain in the ass. Or you could go like laissez-faire, and you couldn't control hardly anything. But what you could do is you can make 1 billion capitalists just to make sure that you would always have factories and businesses. And so there was ways to play it. You had to metagame it a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. And once people figured out how to do it, it was really, really solid. So yeah, long story short, Victoria 2 had problems, a little clunky. Victoria 3 made a lot of backward steps in the wrong direction. And maybe it was supposed to be for simplicity. Like, don't get me wrong, the economy is one of the most complicated things in all Victoria 2. But like, it was supposed to be complicated, and that's kind of where I'm getting now. Is Paradox is not impressing me anymore. I'm very sad about this. It seems like they're just becoming the games for common gamers, and I don't know if I want to buy their shit anymore. It's gotten pretty bad.
I literally don't buy games pretty much anymore at full price for anything because one, time, so I don't really play them much anymore, but two, that seems to be the way it just is with games in general. There's not anything in there that I can like really sink my teeth into when they first, at least when they first come out. So I'm gonna end up going back to playing like classic games on like Sundays or something. I don't know, where I play some like 2D fucking Chrono Trigger or something.
I feel that don't get me wrong, there is some really, really good stuff out there. I got a game for $30 here that I want to play here soon called Captain Industry. It's, you just build you build out an entire supply chain, where, you harvest resources, you refine them into products, and you do shit with them. Can't wait to play it. It's like Factorio, but without, having to play in single player. Like, let's go. I can't wait. But on the other side of that, excuse me, I can't talk, is I'm really upset with the quality of, premier titles, particularly in that they just seem to get shittier and shittier, and they get more and more expensive. Now, if they fix them and they make them better, great. But it seems like a lot of these games just keep wanting to go the wrong way. And my rant is over.
Did you play it's like a city building game and it's set in like some sort of like Frost Wasteland kind of thing?
Frostpunk.
No, I don't think it's Frostpunk. It's something else. I'll look up Frostpunk, but that doesn't sound like it's the right title. I think it had dwarfs in it.
Okay.
Maybe
I can't think of what you're thinking of.
Maybe it was Frostpunk. Hold on, let me look.
I don't remember dwarves in Frostpunk, but I definitely remember Frostpunk.
It looked like a real good game. I didn't play it. Yeah, maybe. Okay, it probably was Frostpunk. Did you play that one?
Can't remember if I played the demo or if I bought it or what. I don't think I did, but let's see. Did I buy this damn game?
Yeah, it was Frostpunk. Oops.
I don't know. I don't see it in my list, so if I bought it, I must have played it for a little bit and absolutely hated it or something. But yeah, I don't remember liking that game really at all. Okay. It's not for a lack that it didn't try. It's just one, I hate punk anything more often than not. Steampunk, solar punk, all this shit. I'm like, blow me. On the other side of that is the universe one is absolutely fucking horrific, and it like, don't get me wrong, it's a resource management game, and it's like a organization city building game. Like, usually I'm pretty calm to that, but it's literally just like the game's hard and then just gets even harder. What's that? I'm gonna live in a world that's literally negative 130 Celsius. Sounds great. Let's go. Oh my god, kill me. Um,
Okay.
like okay, so you have to like harvest resources, and you're like, all right, it's -40 below. If you don't make sure everybody's like, oh, at tip top shape, like people freeze to death really fucking quickly, right? So you gotta
Yeah.
have good clothing, and they gotta be moving and active. Gotta make sure everyone gets food because they're burning calories like crazy. Oh, what's that? A storm's coming. Oh, okay. Well, what's that like? -130. -170. Like, what the hell? Like, shit instantly freezes at this. You're halfway to absolute zero at this point. Yeah, that universe kind of sucks. And I just like, I don't want to live in this universe. Can I off myself? Like, I don't want to play this game.
Ah.
No, there's games that will absolutely just be so depressing to me. I can't play them. And that Frostpunk is absolutely one of them. This setting just is just like, I don't want to live. No, thank you. Huh?
Ooh.
Thanks. All right. Well, I don't see Carl, but yeah.
Well, I mean, what do you want to talk about? Like, we can do a
Mm,
pretty good show as long as we have something we can talk about. But it's your show, so I want to know what you want to talk about.
well, there's a couple things I want to hold off for the others. I definitely don't want to talk about the elections until I get a chance to talk to
Oh, for
Sam.
sure. No,
Right.
that's fair. That's fair.
And then I don't want to do I don't want to talk about the Fed until Nate's back. So both of those are off. I guess one of the things that is in the news that we can talk about real quick is Kyrsan's been liberated, which is
Yeah.
kind of nice.
No, no,
Kyrsan, go ahead.
yeah, and they're going through and liberating more of the cities in around the area and just on the outskirts of it, and it seems like
Yeah.
they'll be able to hunker down pretty well. Oh, that's gonna be good. On sorry, on the
The river.
yeah, on the river, and then being able to like cement those kind of places. So should be good. Be good.
It's a shame they can't cross because
Yeah.
from the information that I've got, the Russians basically had to leave half of their forces on the Ukrainian side, and out of the order of battle that I've been sent, they're down they're down 4 BTGs, and these were the best equipped and competent forces that the Russians had. But the word is that the only way that they've been able to supply all these folks is through the rail link at Metalopool, and there's some issues with that because that line is really close to the line that's at Donetsk, and so
Mm,
like the combat zone has gotten very like so close that like the rail line's just no longer reliable, which makes sense, right? There's literally quote unquote the 72nd Mechanized Brigade that's about only 10 miles from the rail line around Donetsk. So, line kind of severed. And then Kerch got blown up. The other got blown up about a month ago now. And, because of that, they've not been able to get nearly the amount of supplies. And so, yeah, I totally can see it where the Russians are just having to leave because they don't have
gotcha.
fuel, and bullets.
I mean,
And
that's why
hard
it's
to
good
fight a
though.
war without it. Yeah.
That's why I was like,
I'm
yeah.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead.
I'm waiting to see if the Russians mobilize and counterattack out of the areas that have already been taken back. Because here's the thing that scares the crap out of me that no one talking about. There is nothing outside of stuff that is mobilizing around Kharkov to defend North Ukraine. Like everything's built on the eastern border, and the Russians are going into a full mobilization. It turns out it's not a partial mobilization; it's full. And we are starting to see signs that the Russians are building up in some areas within Russia. Now, maybe they just plug the gaps within the lines that are already falling apart, but it makes no tactical sense for me. You're already having enough problems flooding supplies into one area, so spread out the damage and just completely, tank the Ukrainians from each and every side that you can. I would not be surprised at all if we see another Russian advance out of Kursk into
You
like
think so?
areas around Kharkov. Yes, I mean that's a smart thing for me to do. I know what the Russians have been like. We're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, but none of their plans have worked out so far. So I'm expecting a major change in operations at some point here, and I'm definitely getting notifications here that there is more and more forces that they're seeing both within Belarus and in the Russian oblasts guarding North Ukraine.
Okay.
But we'll see what happens because, intelligence sometimes is a little wonky, even for us.
Yeah, that's true.
Ooh, excuse me.
Yeah, on my end, I think that like I said, if Ukraine can hold out for like the winter, basically, or the harshest parts of the winter, I think it's gonna force Putin to concede.
Oh, I
And
would love it.
yeah, and
Like,
that's why I'm like, just wait after, please, please hold out until February. Just do it. If you can do that, we're golden. I still stick by that.
you explain that to me real quick because I don't know what you're talking about.
Hold out until February?
Yeah.
Like what I mean specifically? I mean like none of like Ukraine not losing any of its gains, the United States not pulling out any of its resources, like the Europe holding out until February with the ability of not necessarily going complete shit. Like that's what I mean. Like hold out until February. If you can hold out until February, I think it's going to be a majorly good thing.
Gotcha. I'm quite curious to see how it all turns out, but yeah, I don't have a lot of I don't have a lot of hope for the Russians in any particular regard. Granted, no one's gonna want to work for the Russians anyway. But yeah, like I think Ukraine's probably gonna pull this one off.
Yep.
Like there's nothing indicating to me right now at this point that the Russians are gonna be able to rematerialize because everyone's just like, hey, the Russians have seen worse. Like the Russians came back from World War II and all this. And I'm like, here's the big thing about when the Russians recoup their losses. They're usually getting bankrolled by the Anglos. And they're not getting bankrolled by the Anglos this time. So I don't think they're going to be able to rehash themselves out.
Yeah.
Yeah, fun.
Yeah, and like you said, pretty much no one is on Russian side, so.
No, not really. But that's not exactly a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing at all. Where is everybody? Oh, but like, oops, I got a message on my chat that I didn't mean to throw up there. Sorry. Playing around with stuff.
I understand.
But yeah. How would you have handled it from a right-wing perspective when talking to Vivian?
Slowly have my brains bleed out of my skull.
Why do you say that? I don't even think she was the problem.
Like, and that's not the thing. Like, whether she's the problem or not, like engaging with Vivian is such a pain in the ass.
Oh,
I know you do. It's not that I hate Vivian, but like she'll go into like these really obscure things that no one can check her bullshit on. So, or I'm sorry, I'm being bad faith on that one. Like I don't know how much it's real and how much it's false, right? And so the issue is like she brings up these very obscure claims that no one can check her on. And so like there's a level where is she being real and is she being good faith? Maybe, but I don't know. And quite honestly, I don't care to go and engage and find out. So it's one of those deals. She does a lot of whataboutisms. What about this? What about this? And I can't. I have no idea what she's on about. So it's just really hard for me to handle because it's the best way I can put it, and probably the most truthful way, is that there's just way too much of the ability to talk past each other.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. That's always going to be the problem because you have people that just define things differently, and if you don't get on the same page, it's always going to be a crapshoot. And again, that's kind of what happened. So
So, I'm going to bring up my stuff on good judgment because I've had a few of these actually be resolved now. So
Hey,
this
let's
will
do
be
it.
on.
Let's talk about it.
Let's see. When did this fire off? Okay, that was back in October. Hey, there's Carl. We wondered where he was. All right. Question that was asked was resolved. Anyway, so what will the closing value of the U.S. dollar be on the exchange versus from the euro to the dollar be on the 14th of October? I was correct. The issue was I think I fired it off a little too late, so I don't know if I got a really good score on that one. Serial index.
Tell the chat what the hell good judgment is.
Okay, so let me pull this up over here real quick so y'all can see it. Because now you can't see us. Give me just a second here. All right, so this is good judgment. This is my profile, but what you do is that you go in and you make predictions on like what's going on, why it happens, and so just to kind of like show you all what I'm talking about here is you'll go into like critically thinking. I don't like this one, like the U.S. midterm elections, right? And you can go into these and you can be like, all right, who's going to win in this? Who's going to win in that? Of course, now it's just down to like who's going to win in Georgia. So can't wait for that. But yeah, like you go in, make your predictions, have at it, have fun, right? So
is this something that you could do long bets on, or is it time windowed to like a year or something?
It's time window, but it'll tell you. Some of these are up to like just a month or two, but I've seen some that are going into like 2024.
No, these are good though because it's questions are put up by like not necessarily important people, but like legit organizations. The Economist had a bunch of questions on there. Google's had a bunch of questions on there. Political analysts at MIT.
I just put it into Tiberius Bets, longbets.org, which purported to be something like this, but it's usually just used for billionaires to dunk on people with their stupid predictions.
Oh, this is you know what super forecasting is?
Yeah.
KP?
Yeah.
Carl. So that's what this is. This is just super forecasting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's usually ideological in my experience, and it's not as valuable.
It's not as valuable when you do it from a crowd perspective, but if you're doing it on an individual perspective, then it becomes valuable. That's people have actually been hired from this site.
Yeah,
so
an individual who knows what they're talking about.
Yeah,
and is not ideological.
Yeah, but the ideological bents on these things tend to like regress to what the actual answer is. So that's also interesting.
Yeah.
So.
Right, and the questions are sometimes deceptively created.
Yeah.
Well,
this is good fun.
So
good fun.
I have a barrier score of 0.14 or 154, and the median is 1.64 after my first couple of stints. So I think
I need to get back. I need to get back into it and reset mine because I haven't done it for like 3 or 4 years. What are good judgment? Let me see what mine is. Because I got some really good predictions in. How many people would Trump deport? Like I got that on the nose. It was great.
Was the answer 0?
No, the answer was 250,000 or less. But
hey, that's 0.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta be careful of this because I'll answer a question and the answer is yes, but I'll be like 0% or thing of yes. But apparently there's a way to make it to be no, which you
can hedge. You can hedge your.
Oh, I did, but the problem is like what I'm saying is like I'll put 0% chance of yes, meaning no, but apparently there's a way to actually make it where it's just no.
Yeah, I couldn't.
And I
would have to look at this specific question.
Yeah, I'm trying to find another one because I'm like, the only answer was yes, like this one right here. And I'll put it up. I'll share this real quick. Yeah, like the only answer is yes. So like 0% yes, right? meaning no. But apparently, I still took a negative barrier score on one of these, so I was very offended.
Negative is better.
Oh, negative is better?
Yes. It means that you overperformed.
Oh, interesting. So
yeah, so the way the score works is the closer to 0, the better. And if you're negative, you're better than most people.
I gotcha. So I've done better predictions regarding this right here.
Yeah.
It's that I'm above the median. All right, cool.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so
fantastic.
Yep, the negative score is better. It's so the higher your number, the worse off you did. So, for example, one of my better ones was will Mick Mulvaney cease to be White House Chief of Staff before January 1st of 2020? And I said, I don't know what did I put. I got like a 0.097, which is, but the relative score is negative 0.5 because of what Carl was saying about the partisanship. So.
Yeah, I did pretty well in the election so far. I called Rubio winning it. I called MTG winning it, but I don't think I was. I mean, yeah, I was middle of the pack there because everyone saw that one coming.
Yeah.
Let's see, Governor of Wisconsin. Is this the one that I screwed up? Yeah. I thought the Republican was going to take this one. I was wrong. But this is literally about the worst one I had. But I blew up my score on that one. Senate election, Colorado. Yeah, I called that one.
So what did you say your beer score was?
0.15.
0.1. Yeah, okay. Yeah, mine's trash. That's why I want to start over. Mine's garbage.
I should have kept with my original answer that Fetterman was going to win, but like I couldn't say that was not a fair shot going into the election. I'm surprised Fetterman did as well as he did.
Carl, I think I can hear the stream on your mic slightly.
Oh shit! My mic is turned up and my headphones are open. So sorry.
That's okay. I was just letting you know if you didn't know. Yeah, my beer score is 0.244. So like it got ripped to shreds off of like 2 predictions where I just predicted the opposite way too soon and didn't go back and readjust, because you can readjust and your readjustments will affect your score.
Gotcha. Apparently I doubled up in here we go. Governor of Michigan in 2020. Okay, yeah, I said Whitmer was gonna get it, so yeah. So good. I called Michigan, which was great. See, Senate election for Colorado. I mean, yeah, that one's pretty straightforward. Okay, how did I get reamed on my score then? Like what? Which ones have
So if you go into your score system, like on your main page, you go to get scores after overview, you can click on your score and sort it by worst performers. So
gotcha.
Ascending, arrow pointing up, is your worst score.
I gotcha. I'll check that out here in a second. Senate in Wisconsin. I should have had this one right.
Yeah, mine was mine was SpaceX, China, and a congressional election.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't go in and readjust.
All right, so
but I haven't done this since 2020, so.
All right, so my score. Okay, so what absolutely hosed me was going all in that a Republican was going to go governor of Wisconsin.
What was the score on yours?
2? Like the total score 2, yeah. Because it's like I was all in, and I didn't do my research to be honest, but like Republicans do very well in Wisconsin. I just didn't realize they had a Democrat incumbent. I thought they still had a Republican incumbent.
So in Wisconsin, Republicans do well when it comes to the legislature because they gerrymandered the fuck out of that state. When it comes to statewide offices, they flip back and forth because it's still purple.
I was actually trying to track some of this in our election night coverage on on Progressive Victory, and there's a lot of data. There's like, how do you describe the balance of power? And I did break it down into state executives, state legislatures, state Supreme Court, and Senate and House. So you can judge based on how many states changed hands. You can judge based on how many seats changed hands, and that'll give you a different answer each time. But yeah, it's it is complicated, and it's definitely not the way that, for example, New York Times covers the election, as if it's a total mystery what's going to be the outcome. And it is designed to capture your attention. It's designed to make you anxious. And so by the end of the night, the answer from Progressive Victory was, oh, it's no big deal. We're basically tied in the Senate, and the House is a toss-up, of course. And then the next morning it was, oh, we're tied in the House, and the Senate is looking hopeful for Democrats, which is it's actually honestly a huge win for Democrats. And I know that's a talking point, but it is true, because most of the time the opposition party loses in the midterms. So this is
by a huge amount.
It's just the fact.
Like 60 to 70 seats.
Yeah, we held the wall, and I'm feeling good about that. So I'll let chat keep coping about long bets. Read the fact, not technically gambling.
I'll say this, that I find this to be always a fun conversation, but I do reserve the right to not overly engage in this one, because our good friend Sam just in here, and I'm sure Nate would want to get in on this too.
Oh, more than fair. I'm fucking, while we're talking, I'm fucking around making a new background for the talks. I'm going chalkboard theme.
Sounds good. So, Carl, how have you been? What have you been working on?
I am actually not going to talk about anything other than Progressive Victory and my contract work for legal reasons. I've got some personal shit going on, and maybe it will make some tasty drama someday, but not today.
Fair enough.
You heard it here first. At some point in the next 6 months, I'll either have a lot of spending money, or I will drop some juicy drama.
Fair enough. Okay. Fair enough.
But yeah. So Progressive Victory is we completed our election season with some good outcomes. Participated in some battleground states. Absolutely killed it. Had 2,000 calls placed, over 2,000 calls placed for Democrats, and as a result, I have heard that we're gonna have a Vosh Q&A. I don't know if that's been confirmed. I don't know what the time is, but that was sort of the promise, and the promise was delivered. So we've got this outstanding kind of ask that may be fulfilled, and we're pretty excited about it.
Are you, I know Shark Zero's been participating with this as well. Is he gonna do anything?
Oh yeah, and Riverboat Jack. Jack is amazing. If you have never been in a show that she has organized, she's actually a really good producer and showrunner. So props to Riverboat Jack for that.
Yeah, I've been on some panels with her, but not anything she's actually done herself. So.
Oh yeah, right. Super professional.
Good person all around though, from what I've been able to see.
I haven't talked to her in a while. Hopefully she's doing well. Here's the real thing for me. No one's talking about California, but like Arizona and Nevada are still somehow counting votes, and it's Saturday, right? Granted, they're probably taking today off, but just the fact like that it's now the end of the week, and we have computers and tabulating machines and all this shit. I mean, these states should be ashamed. Openly should be ashamed. What? They can have this knocked out and clawed out relatively quickly, unless they're just gonna say that the voters in Nevada and Arizona are so close to the wire on these elections, which one of them definitely is, to the point where they have to wait for all the veteran votes to come in, and or not veterans, like deployed overseas votes and whatnot.
Isn't that kind of by design though, from like the law in these places, in both of these states? Like I thought that, so like with Pennsylvania, right? We had to wait until the after the polls closed before they could even start counting mail-in and early votes, right?
Right.
Yeah, thankfully, either that is no longer a problem, or they figured out how to make sure they can count votes the moment the polls close.
They probably just hired more people.
It's absolutely a problem. There are
Yeah.
states like Nevada where they have this arduous process that's just getting started.
Yeah.
They have states where you can start counting the votes at a certain time, but you have to have results within 4 days. And then there's based Washington, where we get to start counting as soon as we receive the ballots. We tell you at an hour after the polls closed on an election night, so that's 9 p.m. Pacific, and then every 4 p.m. every other day until we're done counting. Thank you very much, Al Gore. We finish counting the vote because every vote matters.
Nice.
I'll simply say this. Patty Murray is a legend in that state, but Tiffany Smiley got some hellacious votes for Washington.
Tiffany Smiley is riding on Culp's coattails, and Culp was a anti-Jay Inslee, pro-Trump candidate, and so if you want to give her that, he's not Team Normal.
Well, I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm just simply saying that holy shit.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. We are a divided state. We have been a divided state forever. I love to play with those political lines. I think it's incredibly utilitarian, but also can speak to people's values. If I'm being honest, there's some fucked up values in liberal, and I do mean liberal, not leftist, Seattle, because we do take advantage of the political situation here.
So Greater Idaho win.
Yeah. Too bad Cascadia is not a thing, and we've got to pull Spokane with the rest of the state.
Cascadia?
So Cascadia is the
confused.
Pacific Northwest. It's a union movement to have basically everything from Eugene, Oregon, all the way up into Vancouver as part of one state.
Hey, let's go down this path because this is fun. So let's split California into 4 states. Let's make the greater Los Angeles area into a state and the San Francisco Bay into a state, and we can we can do this. We can play that game.
Okay, most of that I actually don't disagree with. So the board. No, seriously.
I know that's why I'm laughing.
Okay,
this is why you play Hearts of Iron. That's why you're serious.
No, it's like okay. So see. If anyone needs me to explain this, I believe that states do not need to be drawn for political reasons. You need, or maybe you can usurp this into political reasons, but here it is. 3 reasons why you draw state lines in any political border. Number 1 is water rights. If water's a concern, you absolutely have to put that into a constituency. The second thing is mineral rights. Granted, that's more of a new thing because most of the time we didn't know what was underneath our feet until the modern era. So, we need to have a serious conversation about that. And then third is that if you have neither of those as a major issue, then you draw on transit rights. And if anyone's wondering what the fuck that means, it basically means Chicago should be a state.
So who owns the Snake and Columbia rivers? Is it the conservatives or the liberals?
I'll put it this way, and this is how I would have drawn Oregon and Washington. Everything west of the Cascades should have been a state. Everything east of the Cascades should have been a state. Y'all drew it the wrong way.
Well, if we go by your water rights, then everything
that actually works. Everything.
Go ahead. Except it's much smaller. Except it means that everything north of Longview, Cowlitz, and everything west of Wenatchee and Metho, and here I'll just paste this map in your Twitch chat. It is like this enormous flyover state that's actually the wheat belt, including like the Palouse and a huge amount of Idaho and Oregon's. And so basically this state would be an agricultural powerhouse. And like if you compare this to something like the doomer future of man,
I can let me help you out here, and maybe we can agree. I'm still doing the preliminary work on this one, but I'm actually going to eventually take the time to draw these out. So everything that is part of a city called Rosenberg on I-5 in Portland, you can draw the line anywhere between there and Reading, but everything from Rosenberg north all the way up into Vancouver could be its own state. But the dividing lines is the is the I cannot say what these fucking are, the Cascade Mountains, because on the left you guys have a very temperate climate, or at least it's actually an oceanic climate. Gets a lot of rain. It rains all the time there. Water rights are not nearly the concern for you guys. It's actually mineral and transportation rights. That's the real issue. But once you get east of that, the air has been scrubbed, and when you get in the Columbia Basin, right,
dry. Yeah,
it's hellaciously dry, and it stays that way forever.
Yeah.
Basically, when you get to the Cascades, everything that is from the the Squamish Pass? How do you pronounce this one?
Snoqualmie.
Snoqualmie? Okay, thank you. Okay, so everything basically east of the Snoqualmie Pass, all the way till you get to literally like Helena, Montana, should be part of a state.
Yep.
And then that's going to go all the way south until actually, this is going to be huge, but I'm serious. Almost until it hits I-80 down in northern Nevada. But once it hits that, it's a whole other state, because ironically enough, Nevada and Utah are actually some of the better drawn states in the country, because it's part of an inner basin that does not have water enter or leave it. Ironically enough, Deseret, the old Mormon state that they originally proposed, outside of having the Los Angeles area part of it, the rest of the state makes sense. It was actually very well drawn. The Great Plains need a bit of a rearrangement. Like, number one, they're all kind of huge, but that's fine. Like, it doesn't need to be a problem. Republicans are going to be pissed because you're going to lose a couple senators, but believe me, I'm going to fuck New England over either way. The Great Plains would probably be divided into about 5 or 6 states, but they would be significant in size. The big thing that you have to really watch out for is Wyoming, because of the Powder River Basin, because it's got a shitload of coal and a few other minerals in the area.
I mean, if we want to go back to it, then like sort of Native American tribes would be a better way of organizing our states than the actual states.
Well, you're not entirely off on that one, because they grew up around environments that would habitate them, right?
Right.
And so they grew up where the water and the minerals were available. And so, unironically, yeah, a little bit of true.
Yeah,
it's almost like they knew something.
As we're talking about in chat, it just devolves into sort of Hunger Games districts, which is the reference I was spacing on.
Well, really?
Yeah.
Unironically, some of them were drawn kind of decently, like the general outline.
Well, and it also means that you get Portland on the conservative side, so fucking clean it up, man. It's your fault.
Wait, what? How is
Portland is in the Columbia River Basin.
Yeah, but
it's yours. You can have it.
Okay, so this is where, like, I mean, if you want to get rid of Portland, I guess, but the long and the short here for me is that the state line should literally go through a place called Hood River there on I-84.
Well, I mean, culturally, it's fine. It works, but from sort of the the water boundary rules, and not to mention access to Lake Pend Oreille, which is a big Navy yard and a naval submarine facility. You actually need that for that facility if you're playing Hearts of Iron and you want to build up your navy.
Okay, there's levels of memes here that I'm getting, but like the submarine place that I'm very familiar with is Bremerton.
Well, that too, yeah. Lewiston Bremerton is one, and Lake Pend Oreille is another.
Okay, I don't actually know about Lake Ponderay, so
You're all talking about stuff I don't know anything about, so I'm done.
Yeah,
right.
TLDR, the U.S. Navy loves the Pacific Northwest. It has some very, very big estuaries of the Columbia Basin, and yeah, Lewiston, Clarkston, and Ponderay are two enormous Navy places.
Okay, Lake Ponderay in Idaho?
Maybe I'm mistaking it, but there is a lake up there, and I've been on it, and I've seen like the concrete structures.
I'm sorry. Okay, I had the wrong name. This is Lake Pond Oroville, but or Orelli. Sorry. Okay, I know a number of naval facilities that are in Washington. Yeah, like obviously Bremerton's the big one. You've got Bangor, Maine, which is literally where they house the missiles. Um, you've got where's that offloading facility here? Second here. You've got Oak Harbor up there. It's where they unload a lot of the naval facilities there. Um, yeah.
Find
Things.
it. I've got a reference. The acoustic development. Yes, in Bayview, Idaho. Oh yeah, this is absolutely where I saw it, because we launched from Bayview, we went east across the lake, and right there is where I saw the concrete structures. So Bayview, Idaho. This is on Lake Ponderay. This is a U.S. Navy yard. It's their acoustic development center.
Oh, okay. I'm not familiar with this installation, but I can definitely reach out some feelers because, I mean, it looks like a lock. Unironically enough.
Yeah.
Is this dammed?
Oh yeah, there's a dam at Ponderay. There's dams all up and down the. I mean, this is basically the shadow government, the deep state of the Pacific Northwest. We've got
The
dozens, dozens of locks and dams and nuclear research, all that. So, yeah.
I didn't. Excuse me. I am very aware that like Idaho is one of the biggest facilitators of nuclear research. So anyway, so yeah, we're all nerds over here. I hope you're all having fun.
Can we talk about, since we're talking about like water rights and other stuff, can we talk about the fact that some places have too much population?
Yes,
Want to get this
we need to
spicy?
be. Yeah, Los Angeles needs to be depopulated. Arizona needs to be depopulated. Phoenix needs to be depopulated. Pretty much everything in the American Southwest, all the way from LA to Abilene, Texas, should be depopulated to at least some degree. Albuquerque's too big.
But I
What?
love the water. I love the weather in LA. I want to live there. It's my right. You gonna restrict my rights?
Well, obviously, I'm not going to tell people like, "Hey, you can't live here." Like, I'm not that authoritarian. I'm just going to be like, "Y'all can live there. Just have fun finding water."
No water for you.
So water gets super expensive and all the poor people die.
That's what I'm afraid of. Yeah, that's where I'm like, "Hey, look,
That's
don't
gonna
live
happen
in LA."
anyways, right?
Yeah, like don't live in LA. Like unironically, like you may very well die of thirst because you can't afford it. That being said, keynote. And this is where like I can take shots at everybody. You can absolutely have plenty of drinking water for the LA basin. It's from the Colorado River. You just have to kill your agriculture sector and SoCal.
Yep.
But our almonds and our avocados. Come
Oh
on.
no.
Yeah,
No, like if y'all want to like
I-
seriously, you got
Almond milk. Really?
memes aside though. Y'all are gonna, or not y'all, but them folks are gonna have to make that pick. Like they're getting to the point where they have to.
Are you telling me that a good conservative boy in Kansas is not going to be able to get his avocado toast because of California?
Yes.
Oh,
It pains me so. It pains me so.
but we have technology, we have markets, and we have capitalism.
Yeah,
yeah.
but sometimes. Yeah, but
About
sometimes
that.
capitalism shows you where the hard limit is and where it
Are
comes
you
down
saying
to.
that there's? Are you saying that we should have central planning? to keep the market under control?
When it comes to, I will. When it comes to water rights, when it comes to water allocation, yes, absolutely. There's no way around it.
So let me put it this way. Number one, when it comes to water, at some point, yeah, you like, particularly in this area, you have to plan this if you're going to have the population centers that they have. And believe me, like I say this as both a person who is a actual like Republican and also a person who leans right, but also as a person who likes capitalism. It's like, if you have to start rationing the shit out of something because you have an overgrowth of population, you're fucked. Like, you have to plan for that stuff, or you're gonna see horrific levels of shit. This is not a problem for someone who lives in Indiana or Illinois or Ohio. We get plenty of water. Come live here if you have to. Don't fucking don't bring your terrible politics. Let's put it that way.
I will bring my Midwestern progressive values back, sir. I have you know.
You're welcome to come back. You know,
no,
you're from here. True, dude. We just got snow today. It was awful.
Oh god, no, it's not too cold for me. Although it's only 46 degrees outside, and I'm having a sweater on right now, so maybe it is at this point. But
it is.
It's too cold for my wife.
Canada was just sitting here like, hey, you want to see a magic trick? Bam! The entire country cold as fuck.
Yeah,
awful. Like, seriously, like 3 days ago it was 80.
Wait, it was
3 or 4 days ago it was 80. Yes, in Indiana.
And we want to say global warming isn't real?
Climate change, baby, climate change.
It's global warming.
Climate change.
I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep saying global warming.
I say global warming too. No, like, so the whole thing here is the planet's getting warmer. The Arctic in particular is getting warmer, and because of that, the jet stream destabilizes and then just wants to dip all the way down to Mexico and make us cold as fuck. So yeah, sucks. Thank you guys. Thank you for global warming. It makes my life colder. You suck.
I can't disagree, because some places are getting hotter and drier, and some places are getting colder and wetter, and there's intermixing, hotter, wetter, colder, drier. It's chaos. It is climate chaos, and it's driven by fossil fuel and real estate exploitation. It's turning land into energy, which is cringe, instead of turning labor into energy, which is based and nuke pilled.
I mean, I'm not gonna openly just push back against like fossil fuels. Like, I like cheap gas, but eventually, like, I recognize that we're gonna have to change. I disagree in how people want to change, but like it's very very real.
No, it's fine. Yeah, I think that there is a level of fossil fuel development that absolutely still needs to happen, especially in the global south, and that's just the material reality of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what I was going to say, honestly.
And I've derailed this, so let me say in 8 minutes, I want to go live on my channel for 10 minutes or 2 minutes, and sort of do a station ID and say that my weekly show is moving from Saturday today to Sunday tomorrow.
Okay.
Fair enough.
I don't care. Where'd they go?
So in the intermediate 8 minutes, do you want to go back to political violence or talk about nuclear stuff?
Either or is fine. I'm happy to introduce a stroke to Cypher.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Why are you going to introduce a stroke to me? What did I do yesterday?
Well, what about the Proud Boys? Those are good people, right?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Totally not a political organization. I'm good faith. No, they're not political. They're not. You need to look at their charter. It says socialist in the name, so it's socialist. So Hitler was a socialist.
We're memeing, right? For anybody that didn't watch this, you can go watch it on my channel. You can go watch it on a Wix channel. We tried to have a political debate about political violence. And what it boiled down to was me going...
Inducing cancer.
The whole time. So, yeah, it was a good time.
It was actually the scene from Andor with the dying screams of alien children that made you want to blow your brains out. That is basically what happened.
Yes.
Oh man,
there was some good moments. There was a couple of good moments. I got the guy to agree that yes, you have to take on political violence if it's being done by people that are actually leading it versus the other. So that was good. And then there was another
a libertarian agrees with using state violence to suppress bad acts?
Oh wait, is he a libertarian?
No, I'm memeing because you can't like weave and dodge. Either you're libertarian at heart and you agree in the nap and disagree with all violence, or you have to allow you're just a boring conservative and you allow for a state monopoly on violence in order to enforce the nap and the courts.
And always the courts. It's always
there is a reason why I don't think I'm ever going to be a libertarian again.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Like I respect the ideal, but it's like I am now fervently convinced that if you do not keep people in line, they will adopt every little stupid ass ridiculous idea they possibly can.
Correct. To be honest with you, absolutely.
This is my water. You can't have it.
Oh, that's exactly what would happen. That was what happened. We came back around to water rights. Wait, is water all right? Water all right? I don't know. Let's ask the libertarian.
No, it's not all right.
Is having water all right? You need it to live.
It's not.
Is it just because it happens to be on your land and fenced? Does that make it yours?
Yes.
Curious. So is that a violation of the nap if I come and take it because I need to live? Or are you violating the nap by saying that I can't have that water?
Hey,
curious.
Are you ready for this?
Curious.
Unironically, moral dilemma that is real. It's like, can you claim ownership of water? Yeah, you absolutely can. But however, are you violating ethical principles and restricting it to the point where you excessively profit off of water, or allow people to literally die from them not being able to access water? Like that's a very real ethical dilemma, because like there's nothing wrong with saying this is mine, but there is something wrong with being like, I'm going to keep you from living.
Does that justify the existence of the state?
Well, the problem is the state is actually the one that usually can perpetrate that fuckery, which that's where I actually agree with like the anarchists and the libertarians, is that for as much as people can fuck up, the state's just as good at fucking up on these kind of things.
Well, I think it's more you're agreeing more with the anarchists because you're denying the state mechanism and the state mechanism of the courts and the state monopoly on violence, whereas a libertarian would say, well, I got here first, it's mine.
Yep.
Okay, so
it was my money that paid the labor to exploit this land. Ergo, it is mine.
I'll split hairs here, and this is where I just make everyone mad and make everyone upset. Number one, I do believe that the state, particularly like the highest version of whatever institution that you have as the state, so the United States federal government, should have the monopoly on violence. Because if you don't have that, you're going to have every loser with a crazy idea getting a gun and getting into a fight with every other loser has a crazy idea because they can't agree on shit. So you want somebody who basically has the majority of the force, who can just basically knock everybody's heads into line. I know they're like, oh, you're authoritarian. I'm like, no, I'm just practical. Like every moron who has an idea is not going to agree with every other moron who has an idea when you get to a stateless society. So I don't agree with that nonsense. But the other side of that is that I recognize that the state is as deeply as flawed as the people who comprise it. And if the people who comprise it don't agree on shit and no longer are willing to work with each other, then the state's the state is worthless.
Yeah.
Curious.
Well, I've gone live, so let me quickly give my station ID. Hi, I'm Carl. I'm usually the host of the Eco Modernist channel live, which, if you're watching on our channel, is here and now on Saturday at 11 a.m. Except it's not. We're moving from Saturday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, to Sundays, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much for the chance at a station ID, Tiberius and Cypher. I'm here hanging out. I'm going to continue to broadcast to soyatl.tv, and I'm going to close down just about every other channel in just a moment, but we're going to continue, and I might as well stay live on LinkedIn. We're going to keep talking about politics, principles of politics, and political violence, and whether or not it's okay and when it's okay and when it's not okay. And so that's what we're going to be doing. Again, a reminder, Eco-Modernist Channel Live is moving from Saturday to Sunday. And thank you very much. Goodbye, Twitter. And I don't mean that in a meme sense, is that I just deactivated my Twitter feed. Goodbye, Facebook. Goodbye, YouTube Eco-Modernist channel. And goodbye, second Facebook channel. And now let's back on with the show.
Welcome, everybody, to Smart Folk Saturday here on the Tiberius D channel, where me, Cypher, and a few other folks usually get together to talk about some stuff. We have had an outstanding invite to our good friend Carl for quite a while. He has now thankfully joined us, although I think you have been here for one of the others. So we always appreciate when you get here. But yeah, always appreciated. We were just largely talking about a lot of things before you all got here, to be honest. But the interesting parts really kind of kicked off for me in that we were talking about like the political orientation of where Washington is, because obviously a very blue state, but Republicans have really kind of galvanized themselves in both Oregon and Washington to where they've had the closest thresholds that they've had in a while. Now I'm not going to say these states are on the way to flipping red, but what I definitely am saying is that these are very divided states, like the rest of this country. And we were talking about like how the political alignment was. I made the claim that Washington and Oregon basically, drew the line the wrong way. They should have drew north-south, so that everything that was from Eugene, Oregon, all the way up into Seattle, and we should have took Vancouver, by the way, absolutely should have been part of its own state. And you can call it Cascadia, you can call it the Oregon Country, what have you. But everything east of the Cascades is and should be a different state. It has a completely different geographical situation, has far less water, has far less ability to secure its own resources and prosperity, and they need to be able to consolidate under one aegis into actually making that happen. So, yeah, redraw the states. And then we also
the countries. You wanted us to take British Columbia away from the British when we only purchased the French territories.
Hey, 54-40 or fight.
Ooh.
I'm going back hard memes on this one. 150 years back, Jeez. Actually,
if anyone didn't know, Tiberius is a Hearts of Iron fanatic, and he keeps playing it out in his head.
Not quite, but I do fervently believe in the greater ability of Annex Canada.
Down with the Queen. Queen is dead. Long live the Queen.
Well, no cap here. We do not acknowledge monarchy here in the great United States of America, and we shall liberate the good Canadian people from their oppressive queen, or now king.
Now Tiberius is banned from the UK.
I'm okay with that.
This is fine.
I'll just show up for the 1st Armored Division. We'll make it work. All right. Memes aside, the UK can talk to me whenever they're not having a banking crisis, a financial crisis, a currency crisis, an energy crisis.
Which we talked about. Maybe they should have stayed in the EU.
Honestly, okay, that's a whole other conversation. But
is it though?
Yeah. Okay, so here's the whole breakaway point. If the EU is able to just keep on trucking, then yeah, the Brits absolutely made a mistake. If the EU is gone in 10 years because the EU eventually just rips itself apart, not saying that's going to happen, just saying it's a very real possibility, then yeah, then they got out before the ship sank. And that would pay dividends for them, because they'll be the first ones to actually start making the changes. I don't want to see what Europe looks like in 10 years. Oh, Europe without Germany at the center of it, where the French are actually telling everybody what the fuck to do? No. I'm writing that ship off. No, thank you.
Why?
Yeah, the EU is too big to fail.
Literally.
One way or the other, they will become a vassal state of Russia, Africa, or China.
That's not good.
I mean, but they're not. They won't be failed. They will be a new, I don't know, consumer or retirement or working class or vacation spot for the rest of the world.
So the problem is everyone that you said on the other part of the list, I think are going to fail before the Europeans do, unironically. So they're going to be the last of the Eurasians to fail, but when they do, like they're going to be alone in the night.
Hey, I mean that is a vision of the future without China. So
yes,
conservative roots. Let's go.
I don't think the Russians are long for this world anymore in their current iteration. They're definitely probably on the way to collapse. I've said that China was gonna bite it sooner or later. They've gone farther than I ever thought they would be, but their system is seizing and it's now absolutely showing that it's hemorrhaging. I don't think they survived the decade, not in this form. Like I absolutely see something horrific happening. And then you get to the Europeans.
They're bringing back Maoism, so that's kind of par for the course.
And that went so well the last time, right? So
I mean, they culled their population. Isn't that what they needed to do?
No,
I'm joking. Man. It's a meme.
It is a meme. It is a meme. Raffle Mao, kill the sparrows, backyard iron furnaces. But
yes,
the reality is that we know things about science we didn't know back then. We have more than an abacus. We are able to make nuclear energy with the advances 50 years ago. And now we have supercomputers. So tell me we can't do state planning, central planning with supercomputers.
We can.
Project Cybersyn, let's go.
We tried that and it became Skynet and everyone died and we're actually in the simulation right now.
We didn't. We actually prevented using our state apparatus. We sabotaged Project Cybersyn.
That's what they want you to think.
Okay. I'm not
just like the Wuhan, as Chad is saying.
I'm not familiar with what particular project you're talking about, but what I will simply suffice it to say is that if people think that they can actually put in enough of the economic variables into a supercomputer to actually centrally plan effectively, no. Like, developing even a basic economic model that works is a pain in the ass.
Except you think it can be done organically with price signals.
I mean, it does. It's the difference.
No.
Go ahead.
We succeed in spite of the inefficacy of the market price signals. Like, price signals are production signals 2 orders of magnitude removed, or 2 steps of separation removed from production. And so what Project Cybersyn was, oh, you have an empty shelf? Tell the factory that makes that thing that shelf is empty. That's the basic idea, is a cybernetic production apparatus, which is a direct connection from consumer to producer, not hedged via price signals, which is exploitable via bad actors, hoarding, supply shocks, market shocks, everything else.
Okay, I have no problem with merchants and the middleman and an inventory structure. I think I think just in time has now shown that it doesn't really work all that well anytime that you have any kind of just generalized disruption. So
just in time doesn't work well simply because just in time was based on going for the lowest labor market cost instead of going to the time to market. If we move it from time to market, which is regional, then just in time supply cannot break down unless you break down in the region in which you're doing it from. So basically what I'm saying is let's turn NAFTA into the great North American trade treaty pack thing with America and create the EU here. Let's do it.
Okay,
kidding.
So
I'm kidding.
You're about halfway there.
Let me meme a little more on that first. I think that we need to take the success of Amazon in Seattle, where Amazon really truly works. Like, we get Amazon Prime deliveries and everything that we could ever want instantly. I think we need to bust it up and reproduce it in every major city in America. And then you will have localized production with real centrally planned open marketplace price signals. And you will be able to get, just-in-time production for whatever you want with minimal inventory.
And give everybody in the area a 3D printer that just takes signals from everything else and have a delivery truck come in, pick it up, and then you pay them for their power and you pay them for their space. Boom! Capitalism goes super fast. Let's do it.
All right, so there's been some theories about this, and I'm not going to say they don't have some merit to them. I wait to see the results. Is part one of what I'll say. The other part is that one of the things that people don't talk about when it comes to just in time is that it used the law of large numbers to a greater effect. In which, if you have a singular point of manufacture, even if it's all the way across the ocean, is that you can have a little bit of demand curve swing up and down, but you have a generalized idea of exactly how much you need to produce at any given point, so that as long as the supply chain system works, those people are getting their stuff, and it's to the degree that they don't have to maintain a massive inventory. And so, cool, things showed up, put it in the car, go. It worked. In terms of being incredibly cost saving when it came to storage space, and also worked pretty well when it came to labor costs. But here's the thing: you don't want to cut labor costs on like anything. Just saying.
Unless the labor owns their own means of production, like Cypher was alluding to with the 3D printers.
No, I don't care if they own it or not. Like, pay people a decent,
Yes,
people
this is why we need wage floors that are very high, and we need the workers to own the means of production via capitalism, baby. Let's go. Everybody gets shares.
No. I want to turn this on its head. We don't need a wage floor. We need a universal basic necessities supply. We need universal basic housing, universal basic food, universal basic transit. Fuck universal basic income. Just make the 3 pillars of society free for everyone. You can get high off of that supply.
I've got to get high off of a supply because this is bullshit, okay? Absolute bullshit.
If the market is super efficient at making food and moving people and housing people, why not?
Yeah, Tiberius, what's the problem here? Since when are you against all this stuff? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah, energy. Don't forget nuclear energy. There you go.
And we can put microreactors in people's garages. Boom.
Well, we'll talk about that.
Let's stretch that a little bit. All right. So anyway, outside of giving me a complete stroke, damn it, I know there was some kind of conversation to have here. I don't remember what it was.
Basic income versus basic necessities.
Okay, so my whole policy on when it comes to economics is that you can guarantee social rights because there's always going to be a billion social rights. You can't guarantee economic rights, but what you can do is you can recognize that you have a particular outcome, right? From an amoral analysis, you're just like, all right, cool. We noticed that this is going here and this is going there. And you can reallocate those things based on, if you want to use taxation, if you want to use a lot of people call it redistributive. I don't really care. The long and short here is that you can change outcomes by influencing the externalities curves on multiple products. So if you're like, all right, hey, we need to curb people being fat, you can tax sugar and you can encourage healthy food. Shit like that. Absolutely things you can do, and I fervently encourage people to do more of this kind of thing. People call it like social. What's the word for it now? Some people call it coercion, but there's a better word for it. It's like social programming or whatnot.
That sounds pretty bad.
Social programming. They're feeding it to us via the television, telling us to be skinny and eat right and buy organic foods.
Yeah,
it's all marketing.
Like, all right, so yeah, my whole thing here is like, people will be like, oh, well, we can't do that. That's absolutely horrible. How dare you tell people how to live their lives? And I'm like, you're going to do it anyway. Whether it's the free market, whether it's a centralized system, I don't care what it is that you're always going to have people trying to get you to buy their shit. Can we, let's just acknowledge that we're in a fight over what you want versus what other people want. And you know what? I'm absolutely going to get in the fight and tell people, yes, I would like you to be healthier. I would like you to eat less fucking soda and eat more, drink.
Please don't do that to me.
I'd like you to drink less soda, and I'd like you to drink more water. Okay?
Please no.
Like, I know, right? I love soda. I love my Dr. Pepper. I'm addicted to the shit, but I acknowledge it for what it is. It makes me fat.
It's one of the few foods to give me joy. Please don't do this. I'm kidding. I mean, only partly.
I'm not. Like,
I'm
I get it.
converting. I'm converting to zero sugar. So we're trying to. Because I'm gonna get the diabetes.
The
Get the sugars.
diabetes.
I'm gonna get the sugars.
Get your diabetes testing supplies. All right, so
by the way, the price of insulin. Why is the price of insulin so high? Let's go, Twitter. Twitter's dying.
because of the state.
I mean, kind of, but also,
yeah.
but also, even
right,
if
cool.
the state
We're
didn't
in
exist, even if it didn't exist, they would still be high.
Maybe. So here's the thing that I think we all agree on. Insulin's ridiculous in price because no one wants to buy the old shit, which isn't protected by copyright, but because of patents overall, is that all the new shit makes it where you can't buy it for 20 years because somebody else can't make it. So, number one, we agree that that's the issue here. It's, you can say it's the company, but when it comes down to it, the state gives a mandated and legalized monopoly to all the new goody stuff, right? So we're on the same page. Here's my solution for this. I'm gonna literally, if I ever run for office, I'm running on this. We need patent reform. We need to simply change it to where, whenever you make something, you can you can legalize a patent. You're gonna get the ownership of that. If you want to extend it even longer, I don't care. But what you do is that you get a guarantee royalty, and then when you recognize that patent, it goes out and anyone can use it. Anyone can make it. But when they make it and they earn revenue from it, they have to pay you for it. And that's the big
actually
kicker for me.
good. That's way better than exclusive rights.
Yes.
Mandatory
and
I think that
royalty system.
Yeah. Yes, yeah, mandatory royalties and crackdown on evergreening patents. Like patent creep and reopening a patent application is bullshit, and you should have okay, this is the invention. The invention is the product. If you make it more efficiently, either through a combination of enforced licensing or granting of the generic method of producing it, then yes, you should have a way of enforcing that competition can still happen.
Yeah, I like this. I like this idea. It's a good idea.
I've gotten both the left and the right to agree on this. I'm dead serious. I like, if somebody runs on this, I don't care if it's even me at this point. I want somebody to go up on the national stage and say, we're doing patent reform. We're doing copyright reform. You can use anybody else's stuff, but you have to pay them for it.
And then we're doing land reform. Woo!
Unironically, yes, because read all the states. But what happened?
Oh.
I love Texas, but Texas, y'all drew your state a little wonky. Just saying. It's a little goofy.
Well, I mean, Texas traded some of its land with one of the other places. Well, no, I was talking about further north, but yes, that too. That's why we have the panhandle.
It's okay, all you have to do to fix North Texas, particularly the quote-unquote panhandle, is just give everything north of the Red River to Oklahoma like it should have been in the first damn place. I don't know why everything north of there, like in Amarillo and up in I-40, is part of Texas. It never should have been part of Texas.
Thanks.
Sorry, I'm debugging something or I would meme again.
No, it's fine. I too was debugging something, a person's wrong opinion.
Oh. I guess I'm not live on. Oh, I did turn off Twitch. Oh well. Well, here, this is Twitch exclusive content now, because I'm gonna stop streaming on my side platforms.
Gotcha.
Fair enough.
So
it's your Twitch exclusive content.
Woohoo! I'm on my YouTube too. Right.
Nice.
Yeah, fun times had all around.
Yeah. And you've never got a hit for your affiliate contract, have you?
I don't think so, no.
Yeah. They don't force
so that it's about time for various reasons. It's about time for me to take affiliate because I don't do gaming very often, and if I do gaming, then I can respect the 24-hour lockout on content. And there's even a rumor that they're going to stop enforcing that. So, but I need to get more information about that that they're not going to enforce exclusivity
They
before I
don't
really
enforce
commit to it.
There's no
And-
their enforcement mechanism is people reporting.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, that's the problem, is that I literally started arguing with degrowthers, and I had my my YouTubes reported for scams for sharing my call-in URL.
Oh.
So yeah, so like
Yeah.
I pick fights that break people's brains politically, and so I will be reported.
I mean, fair enough. I don't know. I don't get into any drama. No drama. I'm a no drama mama. So I don't maybe it's because I'm not streaming enough to get into it really. Let's kind of go.
See, you need to find whatever the latent hegemonies that are below capitalism and attack them, because everyone knows capitalism is bad, or they think it's the savior. But what really is bad are these political systems that cause further infighting and prevent revolution or revolutionary thinking. And those are the people who really need to.
So the UBI guys from the right.
Forever.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
I think forever.
UBI is I will use UBI as a political tool. Like, yes, UBI, the first thing I'll say is, yeah, UBI is great, but what if there is something better, like universal basic resources?
But we can't allocate the resources, Carl. Can't.
The market
it's not
is
possible.
so efficient. The market is so efficient.
Until you put the government in charge of allocating things, and then it doesn't
It's
efficient anymore. But it's not efficient now, so who cares?
Okay, so here's the kicker. Like, I'm gonna do it. What is the efficiency argument that we're having? It's not efficient in the way that you want it to have its outcomes, or it's not efficient in the way that it actually gets results that guarantee a reactionary outcome.
Both.
It's pure cope to say that that capitalism is responsible for the efficiencies of the modern era. It is, yes, you have used capital to fund those creations, but if you take, and I'm serious now, if you take the 1960s and 1970s USSR and you look at their allocation of industrial development, they accomplished a hell of a lot. China, and despite their failings in the 70s and through the 90s, they accomplished a hell of a lot with their industrial development, and only recently are we seeing like the cracks in their armor, and they need to expand in order to maintain that industrial development. But these things, weren't explicitly led by capital. Now, yes, there were Russian oligarchs that have been continued to this day, and what you're criticizing China for is reining in the oligarchs, right? Is that the basis of your saying that Maoism is returning?
Okay, so I'll let Cypher answer that, and then I'll go myself.
I'm saying Maoism is returning not because they're reining in their oligarchs, but because they're going back to a cult of personality under Xi Jinping.
Okay. Okay, that's different.
But that's the problem. Maoism was a cult of personality that essentially gave all power to itself. And then once that happened, that person ended up getting high on their own supply and implementing all sorts of evil fucking shit. It's what happens anytime you get somebody that's too powerful.
I thought it was just that there were people who made stupid decisions and the state went along with them. And you're saying that's a function of malice, not a function of ignorance.
Correct. It's a function of both. Because if you went against Mao, you got killed, right? Same thing if you go against Putin, you get killed. Same thing if you go against any other authoritarian. So
against Z, you get walked out of your people's Congress. You get walked out. Yeah, maybe that's true.
You get walked out and disappeared and get re-educated. So I mean, he's consolidating power without murder right now because it's easy to keep old people in check.
I think that's a fair hypothesis, and we need to study through the lens of history to see how accurate it is.
Okay, so like I don't even know where to start with this one, to be honest. Like I'm looking at like the Soviet Union, and like, do you want me to steelman the shit out of it? Okay, you're talking about society that basically pulled itself out of feudalism, in a pretty rapid rate, like within 20 years, and had rapidly industrialized. However, what we do know about that industrialization is that it stacked fucking bodies in ways that capitalism would find immoral as shit. Like capitalism that actually like straw manning it.
Wait,
Like
wait.
actually,
I thought you said you're steel manning it.
no,
So.
like I'm straw manning. I'm still manning socialism, but like even under that regard, or I'm sorry, not socialism. This is Bolshevism. Anyway, like under the Soviet Union, right? Even steel manning in this is that were they able to perform leaps and bounds? Absolutely. You had the total musterization of the resources of the state in a centrally planned economy that could, pull heft because it put the Russians into like a singleized economic entity. Did they get stuff done? Yeah, but there's two critical fuck ups here that cannot be ignored. The first part is that originally, when they put in their ideology into practice, is that they got rid of price. They were like, price is not a real thing. We don't need that. And they crashed the Russian economy after the Civil War because the reality of what they wanted just doesn't work. You do need price discovery. You do need an ability to understand the mechanisms of scarcity and why it exists. So part one, they fucked up and they had to reboot their system, which was horrific. The second part is that the hyper industrialization that they went through, although more or less successful, was built on Holodomor and other things that are absolutely integral to this system. Like you can say, when it comes to capitalism, there's willful negligence and willful ignorance. This is literally willful malice. This is literally be like, we're gonna take food from the people who make it, ship it all the way to Archangel, keep them fed, and continue to export while letting you starve. Like, holy shit. Okay, so that's part one. Part two is that while it was able to lift those while it was able to lift itself up to that degree, where it was literally pretty much the only entity that took on the Nazis in a knockdown, drag out fight. Granted, they had some help. When it came down to it, is that the Soviets, after they had any kind of like major mobilization factor to actually make sure people were being even so semi honest, and there was serious issues under Stalin, is that their system lagged horrifically out of inefficiencies. These societies aren't highly innovative. Almost everything outside of a couple of projects that they dumped a shitload of money into consistently lag behind the West and technology and productive output and generally overall happiness. And that has to be acknowledged. That has to be understood. Is that if people want to have this ideology that leftism has a brotherhood to, at minimum, you've got to be able to understand like how your brethren went down the complete wrong trail and how to actually fix the issues that they dealt with. So yeah, there's your Steelman.
Wait. There's a steel man inside of all that?
Yeah, there was. That's the nice way of putting this.
That's the nice way. What about Holodomor?
I mean, Holodomor was pretty bad, so.
Holodomor was pretty bad. It was a really bad quota, and that quota did not react to the presence of a famine.
Was it just a quota?
So it was a quota plus a natural disaster.
It didn't have anything to do with the fact that the Stalinist government just wanted to control the area.
No, you're putting the cart before the horse now, and so when we're talking about central planning and the failings of central planning, I think in both of these things, the Four Pests campaign and in Holodomor, and this is the great cope of capitalism, is the idea that capitalism doesn't do the same things, doesn't gouge prices during natural disasters. Doesn't lead to price shocks or supply constraint shocks. It is absolutely a cope.
The entire post-pandemic era is price gouging. I mean, so
right. So
it's all to make up for
basically, price signals or quotas running into the unfortunate reality of the situation, and that's why I'm going to beat Tiberius over the head with Project Cybersyn until he reads at least the Wikipedia, if not watches a dozen YouTube leftists covering Project Cybersyn and the CIA's dismantling of that project.
Sounds pretty base, but let me like pull this one a little bit apart. So it's one thing when you have a centralized entity and it sets quotas, those quotas aren't met, and everything gets fucked up, right?
Right.
Versus individual actors responding to the situations and where they are. I'll put it in this way because I know that we don't have the same moral axioms. Is the real issue with you guys, huh?
You think we don't have the same moral axiom, and that's how you steal man.
I guess, but anyway, yeah, like I don't think we share the same moral axioms, but anyway, I'll get there in later. Is the part that gets under your skin the part that you do have people who have disproportionate levels of power because they are wealthy or aristocratic or something along that lines, and whenever they control a particular resource that people need or people want, they can leverage monopolistic power. Is that like the like the moral issue that you have here? Like overall,
No.
is okay.
No, that's inevitable, and I'm a gamer, and I recognize people play video games. They're competitive to win, and there are
Mhm.
people who play at life to win. I think that we have to allow for that competition in order to allow individual success, but that continues, and the moral failings of personal competition exist in every governmental system, whether it's capitalism or Maoist communism or Stalinist communism. And so, yes, this is a unique evil when you allow personal ambition to go unchecked, no matter if it's a communist party leader or a capitalist.
Okay. Well, I don't necessarily disagree with your assessment. The problem is that like this seems to be like hard coded into humans is that desire
Yeah.
to win.
Well,
And
that's
so like
the problem
I
with
don't know.
Marxism.
Huh?
I said that is the problem with Marxism.
Okay, cool. So like we're largely in agreement. Like some of these systems just don't openly work because of people who are overcommitted to winning.
Right.
So at that point, what do you do? What are you advocating for?
I like Carl
Open
and
data,
everyone.
responsive government, government accountable to the people. No matter what the form of government is, it needs to be like the anti 1984. It needs to be uh, as transparent as possible, as much oversight as possible, as many like independent auditors as possible in order to evidence what the inner workings of government are and the inner politics of government. And so, yeah, that's why I'm not a China stan. That's why I think that the Chinese central party control is really cringe. But I think there is a better way of doing this. There is a way of organizing ourselves politically using voting reform, whether that's approval or ranked choice. I think that one of those needs to pass at as many levels as possible, as quickly as possible, in order for us to succeed. I think that we need to use modern technology to spread more knowledge about the inner workings of government, not less. It everywhere from your power utilities board to the operation of the Fed and our financial systems in order for true governmental reform to take place.
Do you think that most people are going to pay attention to any of that?
I don't care. I think that enough people at your local level should be encouraged to care for it, so that you can gain power locally. And you need to have a local person that you can trust who will tell you what the fuck is going on in the central place of authority.
So representative democracy?
Yeah, that's where I was gonna. Well, I wasn't gonna go with representative, but I was definitely gonna go with either.
I mean, that's what we're talking about. Like, it's just that
on
it's a more open system.
Yeah, like I mean, you went down the different path of the Y there.
You're almost there. You're so close, man. Just take the one more step to liquid democracy.
I don't know what that means.
You have invested your franchise. Sorry, it's an anarchist thing. You have invested your franchise into your representative, and you keep talking to them, and they keep talking to you, and you can revoke that franchise from your representative and invest it in someone else at any point.
It still just sounds like representative democracy.
Like it is. I've actually had a game theory.
It still sounds like a representative democracy, except maybe a vote of no confidence being added.
Well, for me,
it's more than that.
But that's like your simplification makes me not care. I'm sorry.
Okay, so
it's too complicated for you.
No, yeah. I'm saying you said it's more than that, but you simplified it to the point of
I did, yeah.
Like that's just representative. Like it still just comes off as representative democracy. All right, I've read anarchist theory. I don't.
Shut up, Cypher. God damn it.
No.
Let me respond. Fuck you. I love you, but damn. All right, so like real quick though. Part one is that you seem to draw some of the same conclusions I have, but there's one conclusion that I think that we just do not line up on. So the things that we draw on is that people being involved, people actually having a particular say, having that check to be like, I'm getting fucked. Like, you're not doing this. Really important. Really important to human success. Like, I think we're on the same page with this, when Carl. But the part where I don't know if we're on is that, like, humans are just awful at giving a shit. Like, we want to minimize what we're doing to such, like, few little things as possible, that the moment that civic activism is no longer felt that it's needed, it just goes out the damn door. And I'm just like, I feel like we just kind of have to keep going through these cycles where everyone stops giving a shit, and then everything goes to hell, and then everyone has to give a shit again, and then everything goes to hell, and then everyone has to give a shit again.
So you're an accelerationist conservative?
I mean, I'm not proposing hitting the gas. I'm just proposing that we acknowledge that humans are kind of fucked up, and you want to design a system where instead of having it to where you have people who are honest actors, openly engaged and willing, you kind of have to design your systems to be run by morons who don't give a shit or may even be wanting to screw with it.
So we need a clean sweep, minimalist government. You'll be the next clean sweep candidate who will definitely release power once they get power.
At what point did any of what I say translate to what you just said? I love you, Carl, but you're being an ass.
I am being an ass because this is a very familiar pattern of power where you're saying some contradictory things and you're not acknowledging the contradictions built into your system. Like, people are greedy and governments are bad and can be corrupt when people are greedy. So you're
okay. I don't dissuade that people are greedy, right? So my thing here is, how do you stop the greedy? More often than not, at least from what I've seen in history, is that you take people's self-interest and put it up against other people's self-interest, right? You kind of balance. You kind of have everyone kind of balance each other out.
Yep,
that seems to work. Go. Yeah, the issue overall with this is that it relies on people who are active and caring, and if they don't give a fuck, then they're not in the fight. And that's my overall problem is that I would love for a libertarian world where everyone was just like an agent to self-act or like rational self-action, and they could just take care of themselves, and we wouldn't have to have half of the shit that we need because you'd have communities. Oh, hey, I can't find food. I'll ask my neighbor for a little bit of food. Like shit like that makes perfect sense in a self-realized actualization world where we all are rational actors and we take care of ourselves, and then if our communities. That's not reality, because unfortunately humans are shitbags, and we are really, really good that the moment things start to look nice, we just kind of sit back and we get lazy. And that's my issue, is that whether it's capitalism or any kind of like more centrally planned thing, the human laziness component's always an issue. Where I agree with the libertarians in that the state can be horrific, and the problem is that if you want a threshold system here, if you want to put it in the calculus of this, the threshold for capitalism and like more free markets to fail, in my eyes, and granted this might be where the morals clash, is that in my eyes the threshold for capitalism to maintain solvency is far lower than the state or a centrally planned system to maintain solvency.
Yeah, but that's built around our preconceptions over our economic system, not our fundamental moral core. We agree on so much here. You just think that the solution is more capitalism and less state. And I think the solution is more state and less capitalism, right?
I don't think so. Because here's where I get everyone a little confused with what I'm at. I don't have a problem with the state being an actor. I don't have a problem with private entities being an actor. I think some are better at one and others are better at the other. So, like, I think the state actually still proves that they do roads pretty well. I know a lot of people like to bitch, but having public goods where the state maintains parks, the maintains public places, the state maintains. I'm going to say this: insurance needs to be a state actor. Insurance absolutely needs to be a fucking state actor. Okay.
And healthcare.
Well, here's the thing. I'll separate this. The actual service of healthcare, I think, in my mind, works best as private, but the insurance industry that's actually paying for it instead of this fucking broken ass system, at minimum, we need to move back to nonprofits. But if you know, I will 100% side with like the left or leftists or whoever. We just need to have public insurance because just boil it down to the simple basic principle. Law of large numbers, right? You're not needing to make profit. This isn't something that actually profit generates any kind of real value of, because it's a service, and that service is largely predicated on actually building you back up, right? So you don't want to profit off of that, because the profit actually innately is just getting a person back on their feet and operative. And so
no, let me riff on this. I 100% agree with that. I think that, you know, like we should own our means of production, like the 3D printer, and doctors, medical healthcare workers, they all own their means of production, and no way should the state tell them how they can employ that means of production. What the state should do is educate more people to be doctors, kind of like Cuba.
I agree with that, actually. I agree with that, but I think the state needs to step in some instances to tell people what the fuck to do with their labor.
Well, I mean, they can tell them what they think they should do. Like, it looks like in 20 years we're going to need a lot more nuclear operators because fossil fuels suck. So we're going to pay you a salary to go to college to be a nuclear operator.
Do you want a doctor participating in a conversion camp? Gay conversion camp?
I think that there are standards and practices, like, you know, does that minor get to choose whether or not they participate in the conversion camp?
Who's answer is
for
no.
The conversion camp? Okay. Who's paying for the conversion camp? The parents are? And the minor agrees or disagrees? Or, like, is it going to be successful? Like, this is...
No, I don't think any of that matters. I think gay conversion camps are just inherently morally wrong, and they shouldn't exist.
Oh, yeah.
So the state should come in and tell them not to exist.
I think I'm okay with the state telling everyone, look at this place. This is a gay conversion camp. This is destroying people's lives. We think it should stop. And it will not get the protection of the courts. Please sue them out of existence. They will not get the protection of the police force.
What?
I'm not watching.
Yeah, I'm so
no. So that's now. No, because that just breeds political violence, which was the topic we were supposed to be talking about.
Political violence. Hey, funny that. Well, like, no, the protection of the state via a monopoly on violence or a monopoly on the courts invites this contradiction in the system that I think invites political violence. I don't know that you can tell someone, hey, you can't try to do this. Maybe there are 0.1% of people who genuinely, fervently believe that they can modify their attraction, that they can modify something about themselves so that they can fit a traditional heterosexual lifestyle.
Sure.
And
so
maybe like conversion, like, you know, just like you can know the difference between someone who is trans and someone who's not trans, maybe you can allow a slight amount of error in that equation in order to permit freedoms. And that's sort of the contradiction within freedom.
How the fuck did we get here?
Because Carl brought up the fact that you can't tell people what they can and can't do with their labor, and that is ultimately an anarchist take, and that's one of the reasons why I'm not an anarchist, because people are stupid by and large.
Yeah.
A lot of people are dumb, and something like a gay conversion camp, especially for kids, is inherently harmful to the vast majority of people that will be forced to go through it. And that's where the state should come in and say, no, you can't do this, because
and that's where my agreement ends.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you don't have the state saying no, it's going to keep happening, and that's going to cause immeasurable damage to people, especially children. Now, adults, I don't care if an adult goes to gay conversion camp.
Yeah.
As an adult, they can make decisions for themselves. But when it comes to kids don't get that kind of thing. And then maybe we can say, okay, maybe, and this is where we're going to get into weeds, and some people are like scratch their heads, but can a 16-year-old make that decision? I don't fucking know. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know if a 16-year-old can make that decision, because every 16-year-old is going to be different. There's going to be different maturity levels for 16-year-olds. We determined that 18 is the age for a variety of reasons, and really it's just easier to default to that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
is there an age where you allow people to undergo puberty blockers?
Right. So,
and this is where like my futurism takes over, and it starts to get really murky, and it honestly is a very, very difficult proposition on multiple angles. I think that in general, I don't fundamentally have a problem with personal autonomy within ethical limits. And I think we have things like age of consent, which is the number one evidence of the state mandate in terms of setting limits on ethics. And so where it comes to conversion camp, where it comes to all these topics, I think age of majority is probably the immovable point that we can agree on.
Yeah, probably. Because it's vastly too complicated. But at the same time, like, well, you bring up the good point. Like, a conservative will take the opposite take of me on puberty blockers, and it's their right to do so to a degree. So
that's where age of consent and age of majority and age of independence. Sorry, I should stop saying it. I mean age of majority and age of independence. So
yeah.
At one point, like say 18, you have age of majority. You are a full adult, everything all inclusive. And at some point before then, you have an age of independence where you can petition the state to become a ward of the state and say, look, my parents are trying to turn me straight, and I know that's not true, and make the case to basically divorce your parents.
Which is a thing that exists in pretty much every state in the United States. You can petition the state for independence, and then they take on the cost of your living, basically. And then you live on your own, essentially. You're becoming an adult without all the things to go with it, necessarily. Like you still can't vote once you petition to be.
And I think within those constraints, we can't tell doctors what to do with their labor. Right? It's uncomfortable, but
this was an interesting fight. Give me a second. I'll be right back. I gotta pee really bad.
That's fine. We'll keep talking, Carl.
Yeah.
You suck. This is actually really interesting. I just have to fucking pee, okay? Like, y'all take 2 minutes to take a piss break, for God's sakes.
All right, fine.
Oh, boy.
I can
memes.
Do that as
Let's
well.
go memes. Let's talk about something that Tiberius can ignore and watch on the VOD.
Let's dunk on Elon Musk.
Oh, boy.
That's
yes.
fun.
Someone asked me, was Elon Musk always this bad at his job? And
Yes.
I looked up his Wikipedia page, and I looked up how he got bought himself into a company, got himself a huge amount of equity in that company while being kicked out as an executive. And so here it is. He got in, he ran the company, everyone hated how he ran the company, so they bought him out with a huge amount of equity, and then they made the company successful, and then he got rich because he had the most equity, and then he bought another company, which he like SpaceX, and here's what I fervently believe. I believe that he actually did a smart thing and stepped back during SpaceX and be like, okay, I don't understand rocket science. show me your results.
But he's the chief
And
engineer.
Oh, I don't believe that.
No, but it's on paper.
I believe he's the judge. He
Yeah.
could be the judge of what products succeeded and failed, and be like, okay, I don't
That's
understand
exactly
this
what his
project.
people said, like in SpaceX.
Yeah.
But your
Right.
first point was
Right.
about PayPal, right? Just so everybody's aware.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
X.com and PayPal. And
Yeah.
by the way, that's why he wants to make the X app, because he owns X.com. It's all marketing.
Yep. It's all marketing, everybody. So it's marketing that I bought into because I'm a fucking idiot. When I say people are dumb, I include myself in this, okay? I am not, I stay humble, all right? I sit down. We'll just say it that way, right? And I bought into it, and then I was like, wait, what's actually going on with the Hyperloop? Because the Hyperloop it's not an original idea. It's not. But he I bought into, he drew on a napkin and had some math with it and everything. I'm like, oh shit, so that's real and that's why everybody's doing it? No, he just funded those people. And those people were like, hey, you're giving me money, so I'll say that you did this. I'll say it was your idea. And then I found that out and I'm like, fuck. I screwed up royally on buying into this. Elon Musk is right person, right time, right amount of money. Right out the
No,
dot
Elon
com
Musk
boom.
is a bag of money.
Yes.
Elon Musk is a bag of money that sometimes makes good decisions.
Are we
Yeah,
And
ready?
right now with Twitter, he is too close to the product to make a dispassionate decision.
Yes.
Because he was far enough from the product when it came to SpaceX to make, holistic, judgment-based, dispassionate decision-making process. And he did not say, oh, this has to be a hydrogen rocket, or this has to be a methane, or a different rocket technology, because he wasn't freaking ideologically in love with one solution or another.
Yep.
And so he was able to be dispassionate. He is exactly the opposite with Twitter. He is completely passionate and ideologically driven with solutions to what Twitter should be. And that means he has flushed billions and billions of dollars down the toilet, and he should be sued by the shareholders.
Other people's money, though. Other people's money he splashed down the toilet, because as soon as he took
as well
over
as
Twitter,
his own.
Well, it's not as much though, because as soon as he took over Twitter,
Right.
he dumped the debt onto Twitter itself, which is why he's flailing to figure out ways to make money.
And being able to finance debt with the own company's balance sheet,
Yeah.
that's why JCPenney is no longer a thing. That is literally fiscal malfeasance that has allowed, and not just misfeasance, actual malfeasance.
Yeah.
This is Wolf of Wall Street. This is whatever the 80s version of that show. I forget the name of it now.
Wall Street. Yeah, Wall Street.
Yeah. Oh, right. Okay. The name is in the reference. Yes.
Yeah.
Wall Street and Wolf of Wall Street and Wall Street, whatever the shitty 90s sequel was. They're all the same, and we never heard that we've never learned that lesson.
Based takes. Now I actually have things that could fix Twitter, and ironically, Elon Musk is actually kind of close to some of this. I'm sure, have you seen my tweets about this? He's really close. He's so close. I'm just like, please, someone push him a little bit, just a little bit. But he's not gonna do it.
Elon Musk, we need Twitter subscriptions. I need to be able to super follow, subscribe. I need to be able to pay money to the people who I think make based content on Twitter.
Yeah.
And use that as the mechanism for verifying people.
So I like that. I like these ideas. Those are good ideas. I think though that ultimately you need to have people actually verified, not necessarily openly verified for everybody to see it. So, crowdsourced politics isn't suddenly Anthony, whatever my last name is, right? You can go look it up. I don't give a shit, but I'm not going to say it on here. It's still crowdsourced politics, but the person behind it is a real person, and that person and every other account they own is linked together, and it's linked to the main account. If they do that and they make you pay for it, which they should still make you pay for, a lot of the issues get fixed. A lot of them. Because then you can go through and everybody can see every single one of your accounts that you're linked to, and so they can see all your bullshit. And I'm not even saying ban the bullshit. You don't need to ban the bullshit. You just need to make it hyper obvious where the bullshit is. Because if I have a bot account that's posting cat memes on the second Saturday of every month, no one gives a shit, right? But if I have that same bot account suddenly is like, hey, you guys know what? Maybe Kitty is really supporting of Nazis now because they're based. You need to know that, and you need to know who that owner is. At least tie it back to the original account creation.
Wait! You mean everyone's gonna know about my secret Azavite alt account? And
yes.
Yeah, no. Oh boy. Oh no. Actually, no, that's fine. I had to do that. I literally use my real name, and I've had to verify political pages on Facebook.
Yeah,
make Twitter more like Facebook.
In that regard, perfectly acceptable. Every 3 months, because I bought an ad on Facebook, I did the unspeakable, everybody. I bought advertisement space on Facebook. Fucking kill me.
God. Have you spent more or less than $500 on Facebook ads?
Total for like 3 years? Probably about, maybe. Not too much.
Let's say since 2016.
Probably maybe 500, probably less. I could go through and look. I don't think it was much.
There you go.
But yeah.
Good.
Like, yeah, 200. I would get like 5,000 retweets or whatever. Like it was actually somewhat worth it, even though some of it was fake.
Hell yeah. So. I absolutely use it to drive people to my local events.
Yeah.
It's absolutely essential. It has helped grow a valuable local organization. I highly encourage everyone to be a Facebook capitalist.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Okay.
We decided to talk about Elon Musk and how much of a dipshit he was while you were gone, just to bring it back to clarity.
Like, okay, everyone that I know who's even on the right, who is just like, oh, hey, this is interesting, let's see it happen, who knows anything about computers, is looking at what's going on with Twitter and just like, Twitter's not going to be here in a month.
But he makes the lefties mad. I want to win.
They're saying that, so yet bad. They're giving him money right now to dunk on lefties and use the extra algorithmic bump to appear on more lefty pages. Nuance Bro is a checkmark right now.
Right.
So maybe you're talking to people that are a little more highfalutin, as Counterpoints likes to say. But yeah, I don't know if most of them are like that. Just saying.
It does. It is a multipolar world. I'll agree with that.
Does everything have to suck?
Because no one knows what they're doing. Digital natives are not running anything yet. That's why everything sucks.
I'm sorry. Mal bad. Let's return to simpler times.
Okay, yeah, mal bad. Like at least we agree on that. Fair enough. All right. God damn it. Why do y'all do this to me? We're at 2 hours anyway. I should probably just tell you all to get lost. No, I'm kidding.
Don't do that. I'm alone today. Although I haven't eaten.
Oh, okay. Here's a fun one for you. I'll ask the leftists, okay? So, I'm playing Victoria 2. I'm modding it a little. And I'll put it just in this regard. There is basically 7 political positions you can have in the game. You can be like a conservative, but in this particular case, conservative is like a centrist. Okay? So, on one axis, you have like the order people. So, that'll be like reactionaries, people who want to go like back to yesterday. And then eventually, towards the end of the game, you unlock fascism, which I'm not even going to touch that bullshit. But you have, like, what's the word? You have factors that generate why people go to a certain thing, right? So the other ones that I have is the liberal axis, which is like liberals and anarcho-liberals, which are basically like libertarians. And then you have socialists and communists in the game. So, I'm just going to throw this at you for what I have. Any reason that somebody would want to go liberals if they don't have the voting rights or like the particular policy that liberals embody that makes them want to go after being that? What generates people being socialist and like communists is that I'm programming it to where people become socialist when they don't have their everyday needs met. To where they're like, I can't afford this, I can't afford that, I can't afford this. And they start advocating for social programs that, they think will help them. The communists triggers up to where the militancy fires off, but also that they're not getting food. It's not just the fact that they're not able to afford their power bill; they can't even afford the food and the water to get their housing. So that's my triggers. Does anyone want to add something or throw out there? Like, I know you guys aren't intimately familiar with the game, but like, what should trigger people going down one of these particular axes?
Do they own their home?
I don't think there's a thing in there for that. Largely, it's just income based. It's got a decent economy simulator, but basically is they produce goods because they're a certain type of worker, and then they'll buy goods, and it's separated into 3 groups. You have your luxury goods, the things that you like to have, but usually can't afford. You have your everyday goods, which are just the stuff you kind of need to go about your day, and then you have your life goods, which is if you don't get it, you kind of die. So that's like food and shit. I've got it where social people start joining the socialist parties the moment that their everyday goods aren't consistently being brought to them, and then they'll go straight on communist, which is basically like a Authcoms. They will join that folks if it gets to the point where it gets to the point where they can't even feed themselves. I've got a few other factors I might be able to put in there. The reason like people will join fascism is if you have there's a factor in the game for revanchism, if anyone's familiar with that term. Basically, somebody comes and jack your land, you get really pissed off, and there's a national fervor to take it back. Reactionaryism is largely if you are a middle class guy and they suddenly expand the vote to everybody, you're going to be really fucking pissed off. Because now you have to share your power even more. And then liberalism is that if you can't get the vote on something or you don't have free press or what have you, then you're going to campaign for that because you want to chat. Need me.
We've all got the sniffles or COVID.
I mean, it is going through another wave, so.
Is it?
Hey.
Yep.
Hooray.
Quick, catch it again, then you'll be immune, right? No. Get your bivalent first. Get your bivalent first. Twitch TOS, get your bivalent right now. Come on.
Yeah. So I don't know anybody on any of this. All I know is that some people are just still super scared about it, like extremely scared, and there's nothing that's going to make them not scared. And it's sad. Sad. I mean,
I know people on both sides of it. I literally was in a bus full of unmasked nuclear engineers last month, and like there were anti-vaxxers mixed in with people who were geriatric and fully vaccinated. So, all of you anti-vaxxers, you are fucking welcome.
I am so lost now. Okay.
I'm vaccinated, so they don't need to be, and you're welcome.
That's how vaccinations end up working after a certain point.
Yeah, it's the what is it? The mass immunity threshold.
Yeah. But I don't know. I got somebody. I posted an innocuous fucking thing on Twitter where it was like some person was like, I met this politician that won as like the first transgender person from someplace. I don't remember what it was. And the woman's like, oh, I'm so thankful that you ran and won because my daughter is trans and it just means so much to her, right? And I'm like, oh, this is a good story. Like they talked and it was cool, right? And this fucking weird dude just comes in and he's like, yeah, it's a really great story and no one's masked on the plane. And then they went through like, you guys are acting like COVID isn't real anymore and like people were dying. And then there was like him and like, I assume a him and like 8 other people that was just trying to dunk on me the whole time. I'm like, okay, get over it.
I wore a mask the whole time I was on the plane, and I wore a mask up until a day after I started having drinks with all the anti-vaxxers, because it doesn't matter. I'm within close proximity of them anyways.
Yeah.
And so if I have it and it's like, at some point, masks literally don't matter.
Yeah.
Unless you're traveling, and then you wear a mask. This is how it works.
Yeah.
We had to. I didn't remember.
So I'm just like, I don't know, man. Those people that are like just stupid concerned about it, unless they're immunocompromised, which then it makes sense. All right. I can't care about them. I don't know. There's no hope. There's no reach out to the people that are like, we need to go back to lockdowns and everybody wear masking and do everything else. I'm like, no, we got a vaccine now, bro.
Because Joe Biden is president and I want the economy to be crippled so that I can be right about my orange man. My dear, dear orange man needs to save me.
Well, no, these people are lefties. The people that responded to me were lefties. Yeah.
That was awful.
Those people are going to help build my business.
When we were in Colorado,
I will run hybrid events, and I'm going to talk over Ty because he's got his headphones off. Headphones off, Ty. Open mic. So I'm going to run my business.
I know.
And okay,
like we are good.
Okay, you're producing a lower quality show when you do that. Just so you know, mute yourself. Thank you. But yeah, I'm going to continue. Yeah, that's right. I'm a professional. I'm actually a professional now. Shut up.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that I had to raise myself to a higher standard.
I've been telling you to do that ever since you broke like 100 concurrent fucking viewers, dude.
I've never broken 100
with
concurrent
the program. Viewers. Well, maybe that's why. I'm kidding. I'm meaning a little bit now.
I will put after my 10th show. No, actually, no. I'll figure out how many shows I've done, and then I will put my employer on my LinkedIn bio. But I'm not gonna like brag about it. But yes, I've transitioned to being studio production, and I'm feeling the pressure every once in a while because I want to train up to be a tech director or a production director.
That's cool.
So I'm feeling really good about that, even though the rest of my personal life is falling apart.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. There's some episodes I put more work into than others. We're largely memeing and dreaming here, so I wasn't like,
all right.
You know,
it's all right. It's all right.
No, it's not your fault. It's my fault.
I'll just nudge you gently.
Hey, I'm not gonna complain about that. Not at all. You know, some good positive, like, you know, friendly reinforcement. Like, hey, you know what? Make sure you got a standard. Worthy. Yeah. Very worthy.
Although
like,
people
like
have been
this is my cotton so that you coughing.
What? Oh, you got a cough button. I gotcha. That's why I like this one. Boom, it's on.
I like that because it's hardware.
Yeah. Just a little button on this. Love it.
You didn't have to program it either.
Yes. Oh, I've programmed. I've actually took the time, and it wasn't a long time. But I finally made a simple timestamp text program, so I can push a button and create timestamps for me to use later.
Nice. What do you use? Leoran board or?
No, I have a Stream Deck.
Yeah.
So that's what you're saying, right?
And
that's what the other. That's the other
Stream
thing.
Deck Twitch integration or
what
integration?
No, I made a Python script for it so that I could use it while I was recording too.
Which bot?
It's just.
Or do you authenticate yourself to Twitch?
No, I don't. No, when I say it's literally a text file on my computer. I'm not doing it. Okay. I'm doing it for recording.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then
you manually write timestamps.
But I am not manually doing it. Well, I mean,
you're doing
pushing
it with
yes.
Button. Yeah. And then how do you reconcile the timestamps back into your clips? It does go into your editor, or do you have to seek to the time?
Oh, yeah, I haven't gone that far yet. I have to do. Okay. I'm doing it specifically so that so I have the Twitch integration with Stream Deck. It already has that where it does highlights and it'll do timestamps for that. So it's just a one button click and it does a clip, and then you have the stop, the start, and you can do it that way.
And then you do a multi-action, so you know at what point, so that your notes, you have it there.
Yeah, I can do that too. Yeah. So, but also because I'm usually reading from a script, I know where my points are, and so I just be like, oh, this was the first one, so I can just manually type it in. But I can increase it to be where I wanted it to where it's just like a button press, so that it would just give me a list of times. But I could do it to where what do you want to call this timestamp, and then do it that way, so you can type it on the keyboard.
No, that's excellent, and this is the secret to production. most of it is some mix of bespoke code all the time. And the better the studio, the better their bespoke integrations.
Mm-hmm. But I gave it to Tiberius and counterpoints. So
Nice.
they got a little exe file. Just opens up the command prompt and you type in yes or no and the name of the program that you're doing, and it'll just timestamp it until you tell it to stop.
All right, I need to put something in my booking calendar.
Go for it.
Nice. Getting business done. Getting business done.
That's good. Got to do all the things. Did my wife come home?
Can only hope.
Oh no, she's still
my wife.
Someone's gonna keep you in line.
Keeping me in line. What are you talking about? Okay, that's fair. That's why men get married, isn't it? Ultimately.
I will neither confirm nor deny.
Well, that's a lot of dead air. What are we talking about now? Or you gotta go?
No, I'm good. We need to build a lot more interstates. All the interstates. Let's go.
Trains,
no
trains.
What
if we had a moving? What if we had a moving interstate that where you like had people instead of cars? Yeah. I'll be Elon Musk for the interstate, and I'll disrupt the interstate.
Why do you do this to me?
Why not?
Like, no,
trains
anywhere
are
comedy.
Anywhere that we build an interstate, or that there's an interstate corridor, we can also allocate for a rail corridor that can operate within the area that can operate. Sorry,
yes.
I cannot fucking feel my face correctly today. Oh my god.
You got the cove.
No,
I think it might be the mind-altering substances that you started on. So
I wish, but unfortunately, I'm not that stupid. The reality here is just my face fucking hurts because for some reason it can be literally snowing outside, and my sinuses hate me. Which
is that a mold allergy? I used to have that.
I've got a lot of allergies. I'm not gonna act like it isn't whatever, but it's coming and going, and I don't know exactly what it is. I did spoil some milk in the back of my car, which I cleaned up to the best of my ability, but I probably have to go back over it again. So that might be it. I don't fucking know.
When's the last time you dusted
my house?
Yeah. So Bro, it's your house. You got to do it
about
too.
Those traditional relationships here.
Unironically, that's kind of what we have right now. So, she does 90% of the cleaning because I suck at it, and I pay the bills. So, yeah, fun.
As long as you're communicating, that's what matters.
Yeah, as long as that's the agreed upon situation, and it's not just get in there, woman.
No,
I know that's not you, Ty. I'm just.
No, we actually largely agreed to this, and shame be upon me. She's followed through with everything that she agreed to. I haven't been able to. I haven't been able to figure out how to pay for both of us happily. I keep coming up short by $400 a month.
Damn, that sucks.
Yeah. So
get those subscriptions in.
True. But yeah.
Patreon. TikTok,
Patreon helps
super
a little
subs.
Bit. Yeah, all of it helps, but
send him some tips on Ko-fi, coffee, whatever.
I do have Ko-fi.
Yeah,
Ko-fi, Patreon, all the things. Direct donations,
Zelle,
you name it. We've largely got. I don't have Zelle. I don't have Zelle yet. I probably need to do that. But...
Well, your bank should have. If you don't have it, then your bank doesn't have it. Basically, they might have something else like Stripe or Swipe or something.
I'll have to ask.
Yeah. But no, I'm all about direct payments though. Cut out the middleman.
You can give up to $12,000 in gifts per year.
Per year.
So those Zells, those cash, those
Cash
swipes.
apps, everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything that
Unless
doesn't
you're
cost
in
money
it.
to withdraw. That's why I avoid PayPal.
Unless
When-
you're in Indiana, then I think it's 1,200.
We're talking federal government.
Okay,
Yeah, mine was federal.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, I know the gift. Let me see, gift tax by state. Like, I'm thinking Indiana is like 1,200.
That's weird considering Indiana's so Republican.
Yeah, but Indiana is also like the most fiscally conservative state in the union. So
That's true. Indiana has run a budget a couple times. A
Oh
budget
my
surplus.
goodness. The gift tax federally actually keeps going up. It's $15,000 last year and $16,000 this year.
I think that's from President Trump's tax reform coming in waves.
Huh.
I think.
Funny
Yeah.
that the guy who received an enormous amount of gifts from his parents is relaxing the tax on gifts. Oh, that's super interesting.
Well, I mean, at least these gifts are things that regular people can use. He just got a trust, and the trust didn't get taxed. So,
well, he also got a lot of under the table and
for sure.
And,
yeah.
So if you want to transfer money to your friends, just study what the man did, and you can also benefit from it.
Facts. And I'm not against some of these things, mind you, even though I'm a lefty. Not against some of these things, but I do think that we need to have an actual simplified tax code, not a simplified tax code as in just give the rich all their money and everybody else pays taxes. So.
But means of production, Jeff Bezos is such a valuable contributor to society. Come on, soy.
He's so cute and valid. Oh my god. I can go Valley Girl on this.
I thought I'm the one who smoked. What the hell is wrong with you both? Anyway.
Come on, Tiberius. Don't you know that if you would smoke the wacky tobacco... No, I'm done. I can't do it all. I can't...
You can't maintain.
I can maintain. I can.
I'm contractually obligated by George Soros to reference socialism or capitalism 5 times an hour.
5 times an hour? Damn. That's deep.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you were on the Soros payroll. Continue.
The checks have bounced or they're late. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, he finally got caught up. They are coming from the New World Order, and it starts with him
right now.
Today.
Oh boy, I can't wait.
Yeah. But I don't know. What, like, well, if you had a magic wand for like the tax code, you could only change one thing. Let's keep it simple. What would that one tax code thing change be?
VAT.
Damn.
What that? Oh, you want a VAT?
Value added tax.
Yeah, okay.
Just a VAT. Just like start with a VAT. If you want simple, okay, fine, have a VAT.
Fair enough. Doesn't it tamp down on consumption a bit?
Don't care.
Oh well.
You could have local production. Local production is based and environmental pilled.
What about a border adjustment tax?
Internationally, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not familiar with this one.
So essentially, a border adjustment tax is another way to say import tax, but it's not targeted. It's it's not targeted on specific goods. It's basically like, hey, you imported your goods into this country for X reason. That's just going to get a tax on it, just across the board. And it's done. It's done in a way because you want to capture some of the externalities of both labor disparate impact of labor cost and environmental cost.
I'm sorry. I thought that was I thought that was just a general tariff.
Yeah, it's probably. I mean, everybody likes to put a new name on it to chase that bullet. So, little military lingo for you, but yeah. General tariff, too. Tiberius, what would you change? Magic wand, but one thing and one thing only.
All right, so the amount that me and Carl have agreed today is scary. I wanted what it's referred to as a transaction tax. It's actually like a VAT on steroids. It's that any time that money moves hands from basically one legal entity to another. So whether it's person to person or what have you, it gets taxed.
That's a
There's a
lot.
level where there's a level where it doesn't make sense like on a person to person level because you don't want to like tax gifts. So you have to like write the exception in. But basically, anytime that there is a sale, that's it. Anytime there's an actual sale made, it's to be taxed.
Isn't that what a VAT tax is? I mean, I guess the VAT
that-
doesn't. The VAT is
VAT
only
doesn't
on new
cover-
goods and services, right?
Yeah. So the VAT's weird because so you have sales tax, but it's anything that's a finalized product before it hits a consumer. So anything that's between company to company doesn't get hit with sales, right? VAT
It depends on the
anything,
system. Some of them get a rebate back, but yeah. I just want to be clear for other people.
Yeah, that's no problem. So VAT is super sales tax, to where not only does it have a tax for the final sale, but any sale that is between the intermediary steps. A transactions tax is the next level above that, because what a lot of those VAT taxes don't cover is transactionary services and capital gains, because you can put a sales tax technically on like getting a haircut, right? But it's technically a little wonky because you're not actually selling your product, you're selling a service. So my thing is you can come in full force with it and say, look, whether it is you cash out your winnings in poker or what have you to you're selling your gains, it wraps in capital gains tax and a VAT tax all into one. To where anytime that you basically have moved money, you have to pay tax on it, which is a actually very strong indicator of how well your economy is doing, and you have a vested interest in making your economy go room.
Some of the things I like about like the idea of a VAT tax, though, is because, well, maybe not necessarily a VAT tax, but to know that there is some tax structures that are like these things that you guys are talking about that actually encourage reuse, and I like that. So you don't tax anything that's a resale or resold. So anything that's used, you don't tax. I think that's actually a good thing because you don't want to. It discourages overproduction for overproduction's sake. I don't know. I'm kind of against a VAT just because I don't like the idea of taxing consumption as a just kind of a general sense. I don't like that for generally. And I especially don't like it when you include things, which is what a lot of libertarian-minded people here, not you here, but like in the US here.
So I
yeah. That's what I'm clarifying for audience's sake.
I'm of the mind that you need to tax consumption or you have to tax profits, and
yes,
taxing profits is probably better in the long run. And so if I know it's going to break everyone's brain, but in the long run, a wealth tax, but it's not simpler, and you ask for simpler. A wealth tax will solve a lot more problems than anything else.
Yeah, that's true. And that's kind of where I lean on it. I did say simpler, so yeah. I do want to just clarify, Jackernard. Sorry, Jackernard. Jackernard. There it is. I can barely read it. It's coming up green on my blue screen. So, I know nobody will misunderstand them specifically. It's more clarification for myself and people that might not know them. So.
Twisted, I love you. Get in here. Just complaining. It's like, why are you trying to raise the price of chimichangas? This man is obsessed with chimichangas. But look, I fully acknowledge that. Anytime you tax something, you can usually expect a general decrease in its availability. Right? That's a very normalized economic outcome. The thing is that we've got Soy Idle here, and he's like, should we tax profit or should we tax consumption? And I'm just sitting here, I'm like, do the smart thing, tax both, because you're not punishing one or the other in particular. You're just like, hey, look, anytime you want to move money, that's fine, but you're gonna have to chalk it out a little bit up because that is the price of preserving the blanket in which you are able to operate in that system.
What if some consumption is better than other kinds of consumption?
Externalities, right?
No, alcohol is bad for you, so tax
Right.
alcohol more.
Yeah, syntax.
Right. Oh yeah, so that's the thing.
Pigoi taxes are good too. I like pigoi taxes. Is that how you pronounce it?
What would you say?
Pigoi? Is it pigoi or?
I'm not sure actually.
Tax? It's taxing any externalities. It's I think it's French.
Usually is
Pigovian tax.
Anyway, so
anyways,
yeah. Big thing for me is that there absolutely is things that are far more productive and far more beneficial than other forms of production, which is why we call this externalities, right? You look at driving your car from A to B, you get to work and you're thinking, oh, okay, that's not that bad, but you have an externality in that it's a pollutant and it's a greenhouse emitter, and you don't pay the upfront cost for that, you pay the backhand, so it's a negative externality. You also have things that are incredibly productive when it comes to externalities, such as vaccines. Vaccines are incredibly productive because they do a lot of lifting, and so basically more now is that you might want to tax things like sugar and alcohol and tobacco and dump that into things like vaccines.
Yeah. Or medical care.
Or
mental health.
You should pay the companies for providing medical care and treating people like universal health. Oh.
We also need to change what we did. Get rid of fee for service. Let's just put it that way. Fee for service is bad.
Single payer. Let's go.
Would that get rid of fee for service? Because the way, I mean, it doesn't have to, right?
But if healthcare is a good, if it's a net human good, and and like, okay, say worst case, like, I'm a fat slob. I drink too much, which I pay taxes on, and I smoke a bit, which I pay taxes on, and I play too many video games, and I'm not active enough. And then the government is also, in addition to getting all these tax incomes from my sins, they are also paying every time I go to the doctor to get a massage because I have a backache because I've been sitting in my gamer chair too long. I mean, there's certainly like a HMO question, like a managed health, like the experiment of the 90s, that that management of my health is the big structural state central planning guide for how we pay for doctors and healthcare that may or may not work. But we also have this Medicare thing, which is also paying for service. Like literally, you go to the doctor when you have a complaint and they bill Medicare for that service. And there are limits. And so the doctors sometimes ration Medicare billing. And it's a huge mess. And there's got to be some reform to it. But in general, it's not the worst program.
The payment system, Medicare basically is the price maker for everything, though. And
right,
it's price making in a bad way because of the fee for service nature
Part
of it.
D is bad because we can't negotiate it.
Well, it's not just Part D. This is I participated in a hackathon based around equity and health, and I learned so much just by being there and listening to the people the experts that were around. Like I was just there. I know how to code a little bit, guys. Like just let me know. And the amount of weirdness that exists within our medical accounting system is almost beyond comprehension. And I think
it's all gray money at this point.
What do you mean it's all gray money?
Like at this point, the medical accounting practices throughout most hospitals and insurance companies are barely above board when it comes to legality.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. No, I could agree with that. Yeah, because they're operating as nonprofits, but basically paying their board of directors the profit.
Yes.
And so they're not actually nonprofits. They're profitable entities where the board of directors is literally the shareholders.
There's so many different things that are, whether like even within the government system, it's fucked up.
Yeah.
Like we
it's pretty opaque. I mean, not with the Medicare accounting, but yeah. Sorry, go.
I wish the Democrats could actually market shit as well as Republicans could, because there is one thing this country absolutely agrees on, is at least the Democrats get into the medical conversation, and that's really relevant. But I'm out of time, so I've got one question that just fired off from our good friend Discardes on Twitch. It's good to see you, Marks. Although you're going by that new name now. He's been doing that for a while. But if you all remember Karl Marx, now Discardes. Off topic, I know, but excuse me. I know that you believe in the next couple of centuries that most of the world will go to shit due to various geopolitical factors. Try decades. In your analysis, what do you think could cause the American hemisphere to shift? Yeah. Cause the American hemisphere to go to shit if it were to. Okay. I'm gonna let this open for the panel, and then I'll get it myself. But basically, I've said that Eurasia is gonna go to shit. What does it take for like North America to go to shit? And I'm sure this will be very interesting answers from the both of you. So go for it.
What is going to cause America to go to shit? Continued lack of housing reform and continued financialization of our
here's a good one.
Of our real estate. So like, if we don't like have some, and I don't think it needs to be land reform, it can be like a financial incentive to divest from concentrated real estate. It could be like a mild, a federal vacancy tax. Let's just say that, a federal vacancy tax. And yes, that means that values of vacant properties and values of distressed properties will immediately plunge. And because we're bigger than Vancouver, and Vancouver has a vacancy tax, but they're a very concentrated market. And like, if we had a federal vacancy tax, oh my God, people would be selling properties in the Midwest so fast, and tech bros would move there in a heartbeat. Yeah.
So and also allowing people not
solutions.
Sorry, just to piggyback off. Also to just piggyback off that just not allowing them to write off losses from the taxes that they pay on those vacant properties. That would help too.
And if we're headed in the direction of everyone's life savings is bundled up into your real estate, and I think there's a large number of people headed in that direction because of the disillusion of Social Security, because we're not managing it correctly, because our population is bubbling in the wrong direction. Social Security is becoming insolvent, and it's been true for decades. And Al Gore was right. We need to put it in a lockbox and transition it to something that can remain solvent through whatever means necessary. It's fine. I'm not a Al Gore versus George Bush conversation should have been resolved back then, and it was an ideological fight then that was nevertheless not resolved. And so for 20-30 years we've been having this argument, just like the argument about immigration, and it's not been resolved, and it just kicks the can down the road. So I'm going crazy, and I think that real estate is at the focal point of a lot of our financial crises, and it will continue to be. And so I'll just cross my fingers and hope for a bottoming out of the market soon, and I will get back into it. Thank you very much.
I don't know. Maybe something more immediate term might be a little bit worse. I don't like the fact that we still have debt ceiling fights that should not exist. And I feel like that could cause not just the Western hemisphere to completely deteriorate, although it would, and it would take the global financial system along with it, because everybody's invested in government debt, and if government debt suddenly stops being paid on because they say you can't borrow money to pay money back that you borrowed, that's going to be a shit show. And I feel like that's could happen before the problems that Seattle said would happen, before Carl said would happen, because I think that's where Republicans are kind of at least claiming to be, and seeming to fight over it and playing with fire. So I don't like that. I do agree that the financialization of real estate is a very big problem. And I think that, like you said, that the vacancy tax would help alleviate that to a degree. But it's just, there's not incentive really to build entry level housing as well for people. We getting bigger and bigger and bigger because of the value of land. There's not the margin there in a lot of places to build an introductory rate house. So, a house that is 13 to 1700 square feet. Even back in the day, an entry level house would be a 900 square foot shack. We're a bit too wealthy for that to be the introductory level housing. But right now, you even in Austin, where there's a ton of land, you're not finding places that are under typically being built, new places being built that are under 1600 square feet, not including the garage. So there's
because everyone wants single family housing.
Yeah,
and they're not zoning for
exactly.
Yeah, and it's that's part of that. That's another pressure valve on housing that needs to be fixed.
And so I think we should go along, like, if we could tackle this at the same time, vacancy tax plus some sort of incentive structure to build some more density. Not like, I'm not super pro like getting the fucking cube. I'm not that guy. But eat
the bugs.
Eat the bugs. But I think that we do need a little bit more density. We need a little bit more incentive to build introductory level housing for people, and that includes buying property. So I'm done.
I saw your question, Twisted. You can ask it here in just a second. I'm gonna answer Discardy's question, and then I'm probably gonna bounce. So the first thing is, what can really make the Western Hemisphere go to shit? Altogether, really hard to do. Localized, unironically, what Cypher got to is my biggest concern for the next 20 years. Is that, are we going to find ourselves in a solvency crisis because we have so much debt loads on personal, corporate, private, and public debt? Like, all of it's fucking overloaded. One of the things that scares the shit out of me is that we have been raising interest rates, and like everyone's been talking, like the treasury market's going to hell because all of a sudden treasuries are trying to match what the feds are actually asking for as far as the investment value of it. And basically, long and short of that conversation boils down to this: if the cost of capital and credit gets so high that no one can afford it, everyone's going to be paying out the nose in interest, and you're going to see absolutely no economic growth. You're actually going to see a depression caused by a deflationary spiral. This is, in a way, a different cause, but the same effect of what happened in 1929, which caused the Great Depression. Like, that is a very, very real concern for me. We have to be very watchful of that. Long term, the United States is going to have to deal with, I guess this is the more like left wing, right wing kind of counterbalance here. The United States has to figure out how it's going to maintain itself in a regard that it wasn't built for. The United States Constitution was built for something that was built for a large country that was of farmers and people who like lived in a square density of, Kansas. And when it comes down to it now, is that we're a lot more like Europe. We are developed, we are wealthy, but more particularly, we have dense urban populations that need governance. And so I think the Republican model doesn't really work, or at least the old version doesn't work anymore. I don't think the old Democratic model even works anymore. Like, our politics actually need to literally level up. We're going to have to figure out, what is the balance going to be in the United States between, like, how people actually administrate themselves, which is literally why I meme it, but I'm dead serious. We need to actually have a conversation about rejoining states because the balance of power is going to get really fucked up if we don't have a serious like reorganization on how we administer ourselves. And that's how you get civil wars. It's eventually somebody just says, "Fuck it, I'm done." So yeah, that's the end of that particular conversation for me. Thank you very much. Twisted, ask your question.
I got it. Oh yeah. So I'll say, can one of y'all explain why people would want their retail rental properties? Oh, there he is. Yeah. Why would
I'm
want
here.
the rental properties to be vacant? And it is dumb, but when you have a monopoly market, when you have BlackRock owning huge chunks of properties, or when you know someone owning up a giant block of property in a major metropolitan area, you don't want to lower your prices too quickly. It's just like
Okay.
gas for your car.
So you're talking more about the large corporations that are property owners, not someone like me that owns 8 properties and rents them out.
Yeah, and but what are you going to do? You're going to charge market rate. Do you go below?
Well, yeah,
market rate?
absolutely. I charge market rate.
Okay, well, why don't you go lower?
Because
wouldn't that reduce your vacancy rate?
Well, I'm only owning single family, so I really don't have a vacancy problem.
Okay. So you're a premium market.
I own a little bit higher end.
Yeah.
So my market is people who don't want the hassle of owning their own home, of having the water heater go out or the roof need done or whatever.
Or
so
move
that's
a
the
lot.
market I'm targeting. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my properties changes hands about every 6 months with traveling nurses.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a property right near a hospital.
Yeah.
Right. So you're chasing the top dollar.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. You're
my
different.
smallest property is about 2,500 square feet.
Yeah, but
if
I would say that go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I was going to say if there was properties available that were cheaper but lower quality compared to yours, would you have to lower prices?
Cheaper but lower quality, maybe on a couple of properties.
Yeah.
The rest, no.
Yeah, and that's to Cypher's point. That's why we can't just have a vacancy tax, because then no one will build. But if the state is competing, or if the state healthcare provider has corporate housing that they built and owned in order to keep their labor costs down, then we would have a fairer system, I think.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I was just curious on that point, because the last thing I want to do is have any of my properties vacant.
Yeah, but how much depreciation are you able to lock off every year?
And you're not speculating.
Right.
You're not controlling the market rate. Whereas
I'm definitely not with 8 properties that are scattered.
Yeah.
They're not even centralized. They're scattered throughout the suburban area of the area.
You're military rich.
Yeah.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Actually, it came from my luck with Bitcoin. I bought into Bitcoin when it was about $1.50.
Yeah, but I mean, did you get any of your properties while you were in the military?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, and there's also the issue, like the reason I brought up depreciation is because that's what some of these places are doing. Some of these investment firms, they're taking depreciation off, and they're able to leverage that to buy more property in other depressed areas.
Okay.
So yeah. Great education. I'm sorry, I've got another meeting that I realize is starting. So I'm going to get to that.
Later.
Okay. Yep. Thanks, Al. And I'll be closing out the stream here in a second as well, unless you want to keep talking. But I do have to go to the restroom. But I'll do that after the point. But
no, I'm fine. It's just I wasn't sure who you guys were targeting with that vacancy tax. Because
I mean, if you kept your property vacant,
my home's vacant.
Yeah, if you kept your property vacant for 6 months, though, you would also be taken. Like it's one of those situations. That. Yeah, it's one of those situations where there's a group of people that are gaming the system with this that are increasing issues. And there's people that do this for short-term rentals as well. So there's entire apartment buildings in Indiana I visited not too long ago, where I rented out an apartment building for $40 a day. And rather, they're able to do that because they make a lot of money very quickly and take off depreciation, and so they're not losing any money. But that increases the cost of the rents for everybody else because they're not actually on the rental market.
That makes sense.
Yeah, the system's pretty screwed right now because it's not like it's being done by anybody in like a malicious way. It's just the way the system was built gave this the opportunity to do what they're doing when technology caught up to make it easier as well. Yeah. So you can't speculate off of like, hey, how's the real estate market going to look in Atlanta with in the next 40 years without the ability to actually go through and historical data with big data to actually analyze it properly, and then taking in current trends with technology and what technological businesses are going to Atlanta. You can't make those predictions, but now that we have the technology to make those predictions and have them be fairly accurate, well, they're doing that now, and they're buying up property and leaving them empty because they expect in the next 10 years for that property value to increase 3 or 4 times. And so they don't have to. They don't cost them. Exactly.
So it's worth holding them with no tenants,
or keep them as short-term rentals to recuperate some of the cost when they're going to flip it in 5 years to make a lot of money, or basically buying up an entire block. And because you own the entire block, just rack up the pricing of that entire block at the same time every year. And then you become the market maker of what rentals are in that area because you own the whole block.
And then that can affect people like me that are just small owners.
Yep. And then you're not forced to raise it, but you have no incentive to not raise it because everybody else is doing it.
Right.
I'll bring that back to Indianapolis because what's happening in Indianapolis is that nobody's building market rate. When I say market rate housing, okay, let me talk. Nobody's building introductory market rate housing. They're all building condos and stuff. And because everybody is building like new luxury style apartments, we're talking like lofts to cater to the doctors and the electrical, the engineers and stuff. The top end is where people are moving to right away, but there's not enough top end being built, not because of anything other than time. And so everybody's like, well, a 1-bedroom apartment just down the street is being charged for like $1,200. I'm going to jack up my rates of this building that's existed since 1892 to also $1,200 because why not?
Right. Yeah. I'm about halfway between Cincinnati and Dayton, and we're seeing the same thing here with a lot of luxury apartments, luxury condos.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. They're still building a lot of single family here, but it's all, from the 350s up. When you see the sign on the
and in the area that you live in, those.
But that's the area I live in. We've got a lot of very expensive housing that like the Bengals players and Reds players buy homes in this area, that kind of. So it's
reason I say that's happening in your area is because nobody's building anything smaller either. So $350,000 in that area, it gets you what size house? That's like, what is that? 3,000 square foot?
Yeah, 2,500 to 3,000 square foot.
Yeah. So in Austin, that gets you a 1,600 square foot house. I know because that's what I bought.
Wow, really?
Yeah. And it's because of the amount of people that live here and the fact that since there's so that many people here, they can buy the land up fairly cheaply and charge that much because there's so many people moving in. But to that point, why build anything less when the margins are as good as they are when you build it that high?
And it's the same reason why would I buy anything less if I
can?
Yeah.
So it's just a whole host of different issues. Like this could be a whole discussion with like a lot of really smart and analyst people from across the housing market, including people like you that are small-time renters, small-time landlords, because it's a problem that really no one is talking about except for the left. And I mean the left. I don't mean liberals. I mean the left.
Right.
Oh. But
well, that all makes sense to me. I was lost on why anybody would want their properties vacant, but what you've said makes sense.
Yep. It doesn't cost them anything to leave it vacant.
Yeah.
It should. But Twisted Aviar, I have to pee. So we can still talk, but I'm gonna shut down my stream.
Okay.
So
I'm actually gonna go do the same thing, so I'll be right back, man.
All right, cool.
All right.
All right, everybody. That was the conversations with Tiberius D, as well as Soyadal, also known as Carl. If you liked what you heard, and I know that you did because you're still with us, hey, go ahead and smash that like button for the algorithms. It really does help us out. Hit the like button, subscribe, share us with your friends, make some comments. It all is great stuff. I am still currently using Twitter, even though it is turning into a dumpster fire. So you can go ahead and follow me on Twitter at crowdsourcedpoll. We're also building up our Discord community, so go ahead and join us on Discord. Just leave a chat, leave a thing there, and I'll get to it when I can. And we have a fairly small community on Discord, but we're trying to build it up. And as we say at Crowdsource Politics, keep your head up through the political storm.